spot some football. All my sports teams off season go through withdrawals, 30 minutes to tip off. Like Rakim was saying, we got ideas, give me ear problems. Sound like thunder and rain. I'm excited that you came on this journey with 3 of my friends. Defy life till we die and grow wings. Just a different perspective. Haters in every direction. Refuse to live my life based off your projections. Their expectations are lazy. My expectations are crazy. My lady defies me. Koozie, Brown, Brady, Jordan, LeBron, Aaron, Bonds, Mayweather, Ali Foreman. You get the picture, greatest ever born. I attack without warning. This is not around the horn. Them other shows whack, a lot of yawning. You really want to be the best, got to pay the price. We make winning look easy. Welcome to Defy Life. Defy Life.
Welcome to the Defy Life podcast, brought to you by our friends at Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. You can listen to the Defy Life podcast anywhere your favorite podcasts are available. Go to defylife.com, Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, you know where to go. As always, remember to follow, subscribe, like, and drop us a comment whenever you listen. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at Go Defy Life. This is episode 74 of the Defy Life podcast. I am your host, J.R. Glymph, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Gerald, Hedrick, Alvin, Glymph. How's it going today, Al?
Good, brother. Doing good, man. Just down here spraying Bud bottles, trying to get the stench of the Cowboys offense out my psyche.
No
So,
doubt. Yeah.
This vanilla pineapple scent I got going on right now is helping me because I still had some of that cow shit Dallas Cowboy offense still in me. So, yeah, feeling good, bro.
No doubt. Yeah, it was pretty funky.
That's what that good D do.
Man. Yeah. Nah. Well.
That's what that good D do.
On the other end of the spectrum, how are you today, Gerald Hedrick?
Well, you know, I'm basking in my Panthers victory. You know, I didn't want to rub it in too bad. I wasn't really gonna bring it up because it was never really a question if we was gonna win or not. You know, I've been kind of telling people that, you know, all we got to do is hold Zeke to 42 yards and we gonna win the game because. You know, and I knew we were because we hadn't given up a 100-yard rusher in like 2 years. So, you know, I kind of knew that was going to be the outcome.
All right. Well, yeah, you did say it wasn't going to be competitive, and you're pretty much right. You know, score wasn't that bad, but it was pretty easy to tell that it wasn't that closely matched of a game. But I think. Cowboys got a long way to go, especially on offense with all those young pieces. So hopefully it gets better for y'all, Al. And that defense, you know, y'all's defense money is rock solid. So I think we know where we stand right now. First, I want to touch on something. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say they just need threats on the outside. You know, losing Dez and not replacing them, losing Witten and not replacing them. That's two big blows. It really is. I could tell that offense missed that productivity.
I think it's the productivity though got to go at Dak, and I hope rhythm comes in our offense. I hope we can get to be a better executing offense, and it's not even Dak because we had some penalties that put us in some real bad situations. So it's not just that, but he missed some throws, showed a little lack of poise at moments, and I'm hoping to see better as the year progresses from the offense and Zeke and Dak. I was real happy with my defense, except for that little the option that we kept getting burnt with Cam, where so we got to be more disciplined in that because that is like a play that you see a lot in the league. So somebody should have brought that up over the summer and shit and had to play a little better than that. They looked like that was the first time they saw the read option. But
well, y'all run that, so I was actually shocked. I was actually shocked that I was so shocked they were biting down so hard on Christian because y'all run that. So I didn't know. I was actually shocked. So when Cam saw it, he just started taking advantage.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Cam, man. He played well. And hopefully this is the start of a good season. I do pull for Cam. I like him as a person and player. So hopefully this is the start of a good season.
Thank you. So do we.
But yeah, that linebacker, what's his last name? Wilson for y'all, Al? He kept falling for that.
Damian Wilson. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like
57.
I was like Tom. I ain't even a Cowboys fan, but I was like Tom Hanks watching the TV. I was like, Wilson, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick for the listeners, it's 9/11, anniversary of 9/11. So just heads up, heartfelt, much love, Defy Life love to military, first responders, survivors and victims of that terrible tragedy. Just want to show some love and some recognition. I do recognize that it is 9/11 today.
Absolutely,
true indeed.
No doubt, and that's something we'll get to in a second because I actually wanted to, and I didn't send it out on the topics because I kind of wanted to be fresh fresh off your head. So I'll just get right into it. So really quickly, Money, you brought it up. What were you doing when you heard about 9/11 when it was all going down? What were you doing at that moment?
Yo, it was my sophomore year in college, and I'll never forget, man. I was remember Grandma's house?
Mm-hmm.
I was walking up the stairs. I was walking up the stairs in Grandma's house to that big room at the end of the hall, and the news was on as I was walking by, and I just remember seeing like the smoke, and I couldn't. It's like I couldn't hear what the news people were saying, so I went into the room and started watching the news, and it was like a plane has crashed into one of the towers, but like they hadn't started putting like the story together yet. So it wasn't until like a couple hours later. But at that point, I was glued to the TV. I had class. I didn't go to class, and then of course, Alan canceled the rest of the classes for the day. But like as the story developed, and it was like, oh, so like we're under attack. Like so, it just the day was just crazy. Like it was. Yeah, I just sat on the bed, just glued to the news for like 6 straight hours, man. But yeah, it was a school day. It's crazy, and I think I'm surprised. I want to say I was the only one. I'm surprised because usually like all y'all would be over or come through at some point. But I don't even see anybody that day. Just me, just kind of being like having that like wow moment. But yeah, man, I was in Columbia, sophomore year in college, man. Like, whoa.
Yeah, man. Al, you remember? I'm sure you do. What were you doing when you heard it?
Right. Never forget, right? So, I'm 31-ish. I am working at Georgia State, and I'm a middle manager type dude. So I'm in my office, and it's kind of weird because looking back, I never got to work that early. So to even be in my office that early when the first plane hit was really odd. My hours were more like 10 to 6. That was kind of, had a real good gig where they let me work whenever I wanted to work. So that morning I'm there early. When the first plane hits, some of the people that were on my team come running in and they're like, yo, Al, a plane just crashed into the Twin Towers. Aren't you from New York? Plane just crashed from Twin Towers. And I'm like, that don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, planes just don't crash into the Twin Towers. What that, like, I'm arguing with them because that does not happen. And I've flown into Manhattan enough to know that just doesn't happen. And as I'm continue to argue with them, the next plane hits. And when that hit, and they're like, yo, another one. I was like, yo, something's going on. Like, that's right. Terrorists, something's going on. And I leave work. I try to call my brothers and sisters up there. Try to call. That doesn't work. I leave work, get my kids, my children. Alvin's 4, my daughter's 2 at the time. Get them out of daycare. And I'm like, yo, we going home. because our, not just our country, my city, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking my family, you know, everything is in jeopardy right now. We got to go back to home base and figure out what the hell is going on today. Yeah. And then kind of like you, Gerald, I spent the rest of my day trying to get in contact with family and then sitting in front of the TV watching it. And I'll never forget watching it crumble and sitting there just like having been in that building, having been where you're watching all the smoke and everything coming, thinking like, yo, I was there, seeing the people just kind of like...
Seeing the people jump out the building, yo, that was... Sorry, I mean... Yo, that just put me...
Like, taking me back, right, to that day.
Yeah, it's taking me back to that day, like, because when I came upstairs, only the first plane had hit. I can remember watching on the news as the second plane, like, oh, man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to think, you know, I mean, I know you just asked where we were, but just to think what that event was a catalyst for. Mm-hmm. So just the war on terrorism, the war in Afghanistan, Iraq, bin Laden, just everything that has happened since then, and how much of it, how the world changed, and even in terms of how we look at security and flying and just the what do you call it? The TSA, you know, just home security, everything, homeland security, everything happened after that day, 9/11.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just, you know, of course, we just off air just finished talking about, you know, going to a Steelers game in Pittsburgh in a couple weeks, and I asked my wife the other day if she has a clear bag, you know, to go to the game. She was like, "Well, I need a clear bag." I was like, "Got to have a clear bag to go into stadiums now." She was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, ever since 9/11." You know, that's another thing that came from that. But yeah, and it's funny, Gerald, you mentioned usually we all would have been at your house because we were either one of two places. We were either at your grandma's house or everybody would be at our house. Usually that was later on at night or on the weekends we were at our apartment, right? And I remember getting out of class that day, and we were in the middle of a Madden season, and it was my turn to play. So I went home instead of going by your crib. And it was my turn to play. And I was like, man, let me go in and get this game knocked out. And walked in. Same thing. When I walked in, I saw, you know, of course, it's on every channel. Turn the TV on, you know. And at first I'm thinking, it didn't register to me. Because, again, like Al said, like, this don't happen. So it don't register to you that this is really going on. I thought it was like a movie or something. And then when I turned the channel again, I saw it was all over everything. I was like, oh shit, this is the news. And and like you, Gerald, the first plane had already hit when I turned it on, and everybody's familiar with this shot. Somebody was on a balcony like across the way, and I guess filming it with their camera, and you know, had a really clear shot of that second plane coming in, and it was so surreal to see that happening. But by chance, you know, I don't know where, cause, you know, me and Pooh were roommates at that point. I don't know where Pooh was. He might have been working, might have been in class. I don't know. But yeah, I was, by chance, I happened to be the only one there. And I, like you said, Money, I stayed glued in front of the TV for totally forgot about my game. I was about to play, of course, and glued in front of the TV until everybody got there. So Pooh comes in, V's comes in, like everybody just started piling in later on, and everybody was just stuck in front of the TV. But
and the third plane that hit the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You know, the third plane that hit the Pentagon, and they think that fourth plane was headed towards the White House.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was that day was insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely images you'll never get out of your head.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Ever.
And same thing with you, Al. You know, I thought about family I had in New York. You know, my sister's in New York too, and but you know, again, you call all circuits were busy. You couldn't get through to anything, and it was just like
right. It was dead.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The other thing about how different it was in 2001. When you think about how much access we have with our own phones and the internet, and so even though people had phones, some people back in 2001, it's not like as prevalent as it is today. But just in terms of what you had access on your phone, so those of us, it's not like we were walking around looking at CNN like we would be doing something like that on our phone everywhere we went, keeping up to date. Once you left your TV, it was like, yo, now I'm worried. I'm stressed. Did I miss anything? What's going on? Have their phones got turned back on? Is public transportation moving? Are they able to drive into Manhattan yet? Is the stench gone? Like, it was so.
Right.
It was
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Jay said, then you think like, because TVs were still analog at the time, and that's what made that, and the government made a law, and they made all communication companies switch to digital simply so they could use the analog lines for emergencies. Yeah. Like because you couldn't get through on phones, and like all the phones was everything was down. So it actually caused a super crazy logistics issue because everybody was trying to get to everybody. So that's actually why all the satellite and cable companies switched from analog to digital. I was at Time Warner when they made the switch. So now, like, the analog lines still exist, but they are strictly for emergencies. You cannot get on those lines.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yep,
and ladies and gentlemen, that's why you tune in to Defy Life. You learn shit every week.
You might learn some shit. But yeah, man. I just really wanted to, get a fresh peek into y'all's heads of what was going on, because everybody has, of course, their own unique story of what they were doing and what was going on, and the ramifications of that. Like Gerald said, we're all lucky enough to be able, for one, be here to tell the story, and two, not have a tragic end to that story. So, it didn't work out like that for a lot of people. So,
that image of those people, that image of those people jumping out of the top floors of that building will forever be etched into my mind, because at that point, you let me know you had no hope.
Yeah, I actually watched a documentary on it, and the print image. When everybody's familiar with the man that jumped out, and he was he jumped out head like he was diving face first, and he was in a suit, and it's one of the most iconic images, and a reporter snapped a picture of it. And then, within the coming days afterwards, that picture went into print, and it kind of became like a famous, image of that day. I didn't know that that man has been washed out of all images. So they have digitally removed him from all images that you'll see associated with 9/11, because I guess the sheer horror of looking at people jump, and he was the clearest image you'll see of someone jumping, and it was such a clear image. But yeah, they removed him completely out of all images related to 9/11. So if you see that image now, that man won't be in that picture.
Wow.
And when I say they, I mean it was media corporations were mandated by government officials to not release that picture, and so in order to release that picture of the building, that man had to be removed. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But so the documentary was basically talking about, they were trying to figure out who he was, and talking to different people that had family members that jumped and were on the phone with people when they jumped. It was crazy. I'll send y'all I can't remember the name of it, but I'll send it to you.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. Also, really quickly, before we get into some news tidbits, just really quickly, something we talked about last week at length. apparently Martavis Bryant is back with the Raiders. So we just asked last week, we were asked by one of our listeners, was Martavis Bryant all out of chances? Apparently he's not. It looks like the Raiders have re-signed Martavis Bryant on a 1-year deal. It's probably a combination of the two, but probably 30% that they haven't gotten any word from the NFL about a suspension yet. So they were like, hey, why not take a chance and play him as much as we can until he gets suspended? But then 70% of that is they actually got to look at their offense last night. And they were like, yeah, we need a deep threat. So, hey, let's just sign him and tell him to run 9 routes all day. So, yeah.
Right.
So it was delayed by a week, but I forgot who asked that question last week. So there's your answer. He is not out of chances, apparently. So, yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, so moving on quickly to some news tidbits. Unless you've been living under a rock, for the past week, I'm sure you all are familiar with this Dallas police officer, Amber Geiger, is her name, who's now been charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of Botham Jean, who, apparently the police officer, Amber Geiger, got off of a 15-hour shift, parked on the wrong floor of her parking garage, and entered the apartment of Mr. Jean, thought it was her apartment. Some kind of altercation ensued, from what people are saying. She shot him. First of all, now, the more that comes out, the curiouser and curiouser this whole case gets, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, the first question to me was, how the hell did she get into his apartment to even know, to even think that it was, like, somebody in her apartment? So, that was my first question.
Because even if you super tired, you
shouldn't be able to get in.
If I step into this apartment and this ain't my apartment, I know immediately, like, oh shit, like that TV ain't mine. Like, what? I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, but even if you super tired and you make that mistake, my key don't work to everybody's. Like, how do you even get in unless you force your way in?
Problem number 1.
Exactly. And based off of video accounts of neighbors, like, those are digital keys. Like, those keys light up green when it's your apartment, and they light up red when they're not. So it's not like, it's some wiggly door handle and you can just jimmy your way in. Like,
it's like the hotel I go to quite regularly, where I go to the wrong door just like she did, and I can't get in.
Yeah.
It don't go green.
There is no mistake. Exactly.
And you look up and you be like, oh, damn, this ain't even my room. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
You
go next door.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yes. Smash, have been at the bar all night, all like you still be like, oh, this ain't my room.
Yeah.
This ain't my room.
I mean, my bad, y'all. Yeah, you say my bad like a general, my bad to whoever's in that room. Like, my bad, y'all. And keep it moving.
But for argument's sake, let's just say the door was unlocked and she just walked in.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the answer to that, right? So for argument's sake, let's just say the door was unlocked and she just opened it. Still, I don't know what type of level of exhaustion you'd have to be in to not realize ain't none of this stuff your stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then that also goes in, for me, that's where my mind goes is that the person I want patrolling my streets? Like, you so tired you can't even tell where you live when you in the apartment? Like, it's one thing if I go to my 9-year-old and somebody asks him, hey, what's your address? And he's like, I don't know. Okay, he's 9. But this is the person that got protecting my streets. And they can't even tell you if they in the right apartment, and they in the apartment. I don't want that person protecting my... Like, no. Like, it's one thing if, like, I ask you to, like, point out from distance which door is yours, which window is yours. But no, you all the way in it. You in it, and you get to see all the accessories and all the electronics and everything, the smell of your own. You can't even tell if you're in the right place. How tired are you? Like, I don't want that person patrolling my streets. I'm sorry. it's just too many. And of course, the rumors have come out of they had a relationship and things went sour, but something happened because neighbors heard an altercation. They heard screaming from, now they say it was the officer. So I don't know, man. Just it's all crazy to me.
Are Dallas police officers required to have body cameras like they are here in Charlotte?
I don't know. I would imagine they are some major city, but she was off duty, so I don't even
Yeah,
know.
Yeah. You're right. She was home. She was quote unquote home.
Yeah. So it's just too many questions, man. Yeah. What I do know is, me or any of us as, the working at jobs outside of law enforcement, if I go home and it ain't my home and I shoot somebody because I think it's my home, they ain't gonna take a minute to arrest me for at least manslaughter. So that's what I don't get. Like, you're not a police officer at that point. You're off duty. You know what I'm saying? So you're a civilian like anyone else. You made a mistake, whether it was a mistake, an honest mistake, or whether it was you made a mistake by escalating a situation and then covering it up. Whatever it is, you made some kind of mistake. At that point, you're not a police officer, and you're not you're protecting something that's not yours. You made a gravely ill mistake that cost somebody their life, and sorry, that's you being an officer 2 hours ago doesn't wipe that away.
Well, she's definitely she's in video in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of walking back across the breezeway, and it's just very. I don't even know. There are no words for. Yeah. What do you tell this? What do you tell his family? Like what? Yeah. How like. I just don't I can't see, I try to put myself in because I really don't like to judge. So I try to put myself in every situation like, okay, I can see how that, you're right or wrong, like I can see how that could happen, or I can see how you could think that, or I can see how you could feel that way, or so even when people I vehemently disagree with, I can say, I can see that. This I can't see. I can't see how you're in the complete wrong, unless they're all like universal. They're all pre-furnished and they all have the complex supplies, all the furniture and everything looks like. I can't fathom how you could think you're in your apartment and you're not in your apartment at all. Like I can't that's the part I can't get past. And I'm trying to. I hope something comes out from this that at least like helps make sense to me, because it's there is something to the narrative that people are suggesting that they knew each other, they had some sort of relationship, and then things went awry, from there. Yeah. But I'm not buying the whole I was in the wrong apartment. I killed this dude. I killed this human because I thought he was in my apartment.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever gonna make sense because it's just one of the biggest bullshit stories you just gonna hear ever. It's like from jump, my instincts were, man, she had to know this too.
Yeah,
from the jump, just because when you listen to the story, it's like this don't make no sense.
Yeah,
and even though it don't make sense, I can understand because she's a cop. Getting the initial benefit of the doubt because you're a sworn officer of the law. We're always going to take your word. Like, that's just the rules of the game, right? So at least give them. The process has to play out to where we investigate. It should have took 45 minutes of an investigation because the story was such bullshit. But either way, eventually they get around to the manslaughter charge. So I just think it's to go to your question, Gerald. Like, what do you tell the family? Only thing I can tell them is like the only thing that would sound good is justice. You know what I mean? So if I'm the family, if you're a prosecutor, if you're a law enforcement, the only thing I want to hear from you is, because you can't say nothing else. I mean, not that it's going to even matter. Really, I mean, it matters, but it's not going to bring the person back. In my point. Yeah, that's just a fucked up situation, man, all the way around.
Yeah, and this is like this story, like and I definitely agree, Al. Like officers do get that benefit of the doubt initially, but once you told that story, like, and I think they did, like, because the Texas Rangers, Chuck Norris and his crew came in and said, "Hold up." Within a couple hours, they were like, "You know what? We are taking over this investigation." Like, I remember my oldest son was probably about 6 at the time this happened. And so we, sitting eating dinner, and he has a plate, like he ate everything off his plate, except like a plate full of broccoli. He would not eat this broccoli. I mean, sitting there for like 45 minutes, would not eat this broccoli. And I literally go to the bathroom, come back, and all the broccoli's gone, right? And it didn't take me long to figure, I asked him, you ate all that broccoli that quick? Yeah, of course I did. Didn't take me long to figure out that, the stuff went straight to the trash can. He's 6. He dumped it in the trash can. He was, but he's panicking because he thought he got away with something until somebody started questioning him and made up a dumbass story so crazy that maybe they'll be. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's so fucking crazy. Like, you're insulting my intelligence at this point. Like, so that's pretty much what she did. She panicked. She threw her broccoli in the trash.
Do what, Jay?
She pretty much just threw her broccoli in the trash with that bullshit story. Yeah, like that's like when you hear it all the time. Like, that's unbelievable. No, literally, that's unbelievable. Like, you cannot. That's the dumbest story I've ever heard in my life. But I don't know. So goes it, man. Hopefully, like you said, Al, there's some kind of justice served out of this situation, because stories like that, it couldn't happen. I'm like, like when we first saw the plane sitting in the towers, like, this shit don't happen. People don't just, so hopefully some kind of justice is served for the family. And at least right now there's a charge of manslaughter, as we've seen before with officers. Charges don't necessarily mean,
better watch them.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
have y'all seen the movie Acrimony?
Yeah.
Maybe I just with Tyler Perry's movie with
Taraji P. Henson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean,
it was like three. It was like 3 of them that came out back to back. So is that no? That was Rock Under the Cradle or Rock the Cradle or whatever. That's the one I saw. I don't think I saw Acrimony.
She's a deranged ex-wife who's mad because her husband hits it big after she divorces him. Basically.
No, I haven't seen that.
So she, him, and the new woman. So anyway, maybe that's just me watching this movie, but the story, I'm kind of like thinking maybe this is it. She knew him and she wigged out on some love, and like flipped out and shot this dude. That's what I'm expecting to hear.
Yeah, that's what my head went to.
Yeah, he was with a new chick, or and she was called herself confronting him about it, and you know how we get when we talking slick, So we get to talking slick when we know it's over, and we just kind of want you to move on. We get this talking all reckless.
Yeah. So then she has a gun. It's like,
yeah. But she been had a gun all this time, so he probably not. First of all, and she's an officer, so he probably ain't never thinking, "Oh, this chick about to take her gun out and shoot me with it." Well, her police issued firearm. Like, how crazy is that? So that probably never dawned on him. She gonna get mad and suck it up and kick rocks.
I don't know. Crazy. Like Al said, we'll probably never know.
Oh, we gonna know. We gonna know when that trial come.
We'll know more. I don't know if we'll ever know exactly. Yeah. Man, I can't imagine just like chilling in my own place and a chick just walking and shooting at me. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Get out of my house. What?
Your house. Like, oh man,
That's crazy.
What you mean, your house?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm calling the cops. Like,
Yeah. And I don't know. But that was about the like, and he's a single dude, right?
yeah, good dude, good
yeah,
dude.
and a good dude. But I'm sure, like most single dudes, like all she had to do was walk in there and it's like Wendy's wrappers everywhere, and like KFC boxes.
Yeah.
Like this ain't my place. Somebody
And that one cup with the straw in it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's why it's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know. Oh man. Moving on to the next news tidbits before we get into some listener questions. The hip hop world lost one of its stars this week, and Mac Miller. I'll preface this by saying I wasn't a huge Mac Miller fan. Very respectable as far as today's hip hop artists go. He was pretty respectable to me as an artist. Wasn't a huge fan though. Gerald, were you a huge Mac Miller fan?
I cannot say that I was.
Okay. Al, what about you?
I was not. I didn't listen to a lot of his music, but there were verses and joints that I've heard that people have shared before, and then even more recently. That dude has skills, and it's just another tragic. Somebody lost too early, talent. So many of them in our culture. And not just hip hop, just so many talented people get lost to drugs.
Yeah. I think that my biggest takeaway from this whole thing is I don't want to hear not one rapper come out, not 99% of these rappers who are coming out and saying, R.I.P. to the bro, so sad, gone too soon, but yet most of the tracks on your album are pushing popping pills and like you don't get it both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't celebrate the cause of someone's death, and then say, "Oh man, that's messed up. They died because of like." I'm sick of hearing this. Like, it's just becoming like rampant throughout the hip hop industry, where every single artist, major artist, is pushing like Molly's and Percocets, and then when somebody dies from it, it's oh man, it's so sad, gone too soon. Like it's fake to me. It's just like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I agree, man. I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So at risk of sounding like that dude, that's all I had to say about it. So, all right, on to some listener questions. First from Brandon in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Shout out to New Hampshire. We got a listener there.
Shout out to New Hampshire. It's about to be 52 degrees. I'm sorry, negative 52 degrees and snowing there in like a month.
Really? Yeah. But at least when it happens, Brandon will be holed up listening to the Defy Life podcast. Shout out to you, Brandon.
That's right. Shout out, Brandon.
Yeah. And then also, he gave us a bit of a curveball. This is why I love our listeners, right? Because the minute we get to thinking that they're going to ask us about Martavis Bryant, they ask us something like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Al. I'll go with an. I don't know. This could go. I'm starting with you because this is kind of like this ain't gonna be in the middle somewhere. This gonna be like way left or way right because you and your wife been together since y'all was like 5.5, right? And this question is, what is your biggest regret in a relationship in life? Right? So, man, you and your wife been together for 47 years.
That's
Al.
deep.
What is? Yeah.
Well, let me say this, Brandon. I've been married 24 years and 23 years. Been with my wife 30 years. What my biggest relationship regret will not be is me sharing my biggest relationship. So, and Brandon, if you don't appreciate me taking the fifth, all I just tell you is just keep living, and one day you'll look back and be like, you know, that dude on that podcast was smart as hell, and I might have been mad at the moment because I called him a chump sucker. But now that I got a wife and 4 kids and I get it, yo, that was smart as hell to just not answer that question. So I can't tell you my biggest regret, Brandon, because I don't know you like that, and I don't know my listeners like that, and I know my wife like that. So I can't. I just can't. I'm at a phase in life where you need to see me in 25 years where I don't give a damn, and I'm 100% Uncle Quilly. Then I will tell you, but I'm not now, and I can't. So that being said, right? That being said, honestly, what I can share are like times where I got mad at people for shit that don't matter. Like just looking back, like things that I really regret. And I don't have a lot of regrets, but I think I regret more so like just or just treating somebody a different kind of way. And really, actually, that's really honestly. Let's take it back, because I don't even regret. I really don't regret as much as I say now that I think about it, being mad at people. What I do regret is being mean to people when I was a kid. That I do regret.
Yeah.
I was a verbal bully. I was somebody who, all the way through probably sometime in high school, I probably stopped. I gave some people out there the business. And, thanks to social media, I've had the opportunity to actually say my bad and I'm sorry and ask for some forgiveness. Because I was that dude to where people they would fight me at some point because they was like, yo, you gonna stop talking about me, dog. It's like, nah, I'm not, because you look and I'm gonna mess with you. And yeah, so that's my biggest regret, being that asshole, bully, verbalizing kid as a kid. That was me.
Wow. All right. Oh man, Gerald, what about you? You probably the only dude on the roster of this show who can be open with like a relationship question. So go have at it, man.
Hey man, I'm hey. Yo, Brady, you're about to mess my sponsors up. I got Defy Life gear to sell. Nah, man. I'm not my biggest. So just because I'm not like, that is a tough question. Only because I don't know that I have regrets. I do regret. So I've been engaged. I'm not married, but I've been engaged. I've been engaged 3 times, and for one reason or another, I wasn't able to get finish a deal, get married, and so, but I don't regret any of those. So the first time I got engaged, I was in college still. And all my friends gave me, Jay, you don't remember that? Oh, y'all gave me hell.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't remember the subsequent 2, but yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and so way too young to be talking about getting married, but I was quote unquote in love and all of that there. So ended up like that didn't work out, and there's a whole crazy story behind that. But ultimately, I don't regret it. And my latest fiance actually just got engaged to someone else I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago maybe. So I wish her the best, but I guess my biggest regret is like not being able to, because I pride myself on being able to like gauge potential and relationship potential. So I think one of my regrets will have to be like not being able to see necessarily that this wasn't going to work, and I won't even say that because like a couple of those I knew it probably wasn't like going to work, but I tried it anyway. And I think my biggest probably if I can say regret is trying things anyway, and even though there's a high probability that it's not going to work. But I mean, you go through things and you have good experiences, and you have not so good experiences when you're with people. So it's not like they were total regrets, but I do definitely regret any pain or any heartache or anything that I was responsible for. With some pretty dope women that were in my life, it just things didn't work out for any one reason or another. So. I'll say that and continue to be able to sell Defy Life here.
No doubt.
Smart man.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna play host on this one, and that question. Nah, I'm just kidding. I just asked the question. Wow. I don't know. Both of y'all kind of touched on like subjects, of course, I can relate to. Of course, being a Glymph, being an asshole at times. And it's funny you mentioned social media, Al. Like kids that I remember, like I thought I was worse than I was, right? We pick a lot and we climb, but I guess that's part of being a kid and growing up with people. Because everybody is always now like, oh man, you were so nice to me in high school, and one chick actually hit me up and messaged me on Facebook and was like, he was always so nice to me when everybody was mean to me and everybody called me ugly, and you was so I always thought I thought I was worse than I was. I guess it was just part of growing up and being a kid, and then of course dealing with other relationships, money, like you mentioned, some things you are responsible for, but you grow up and you move on. I guess like only regrets I really have, I guess like. And we always have moments where it's like being on the couch, right? Like you had therapy. But I guess like even in my marriage, like taking my wife for granted, at times, and being stubborn and not compromising. But things you look back on and you grow as a husband, as a father, as a man. And not really regrets, because it leads to growth. So nothing I really regret, but definitely things I look back on and I wish, in the moment I would have done things differently. But I wouldn't take anything back. So I don't regret it because, I grew from it. But there were, of course, we're all human. But there are moments you look back and it's like, man, I could have handled that better.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah,
and it's tough to have regrets, just because you do learn so much from them. Like you learn so much from your mistakes that they make you better. Yeah. So it's tough to have a regret, like a real regret, just because it's supposed to teach you something, and you're supposed to come out better from it. So yeah, I'm on the fence on that one, just because I agree with you 1,000%. That's how I look at every mistake that I make. Like, what did I learn from it? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it happened. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, it didn't work. But what did I learn from it? How can I improve, upon that area, or in myself, in my heart, in my soul, in my spirit, to make. Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah. I think the other thing, it's funny you mentioned. I was thinking, like, as much of a dick as I was with some kids, I also think back through social media and how some people, how nice I was. Kind of, they wore the For whatever reason, I didn't think they were odd. They thought they were odd, and they thought me being nice was extremely compassionate just because they weren't in the cool crowd. So it's just interesting that dynamic. But either way, I agree with y'all. Good, bad, you got to learn from your choices and kind of go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, now if any of us ever get to that point where we're not from anything, those would be regrets to me. But you continue to live, you learn. Now, once you stop learning, then you start regretting. So, yeah. But yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. Again, a bit of a curveball. I guess y'all get deep in New Hampshire. So shout out to you, man. Keep defying life. We love that.
Yeah. Great question, though. Great question.
Real good question.
Yeah. Next up, throw us right back into the sports realm. But another good question. Jannard from Rock Hill, South Carolina, asks, what player from pre-1980 could play in today's NFL? Well, could succeed in today's NFL? Gerald, anybody come to mind for like old school before 1980 could be successful in today's NFL?
Man, you know what? I struggle with this question because I don't like to mix ages. I'm not really one of those. Could the Spurs Warriors beat the Bulls from '96 dude? Like, I'm not really one of those dudes. Because I personally think the Warriors will blow the doors off the '96 Bulls, but that's just because of the amount of threes that they shoot. So yeah, because I think about like so much, analytical data. So I'm gonna say, because these guys, man, even just the 80s was like what, 35 years ago, 38? No, actually, almost 40 years ago. So these guys are so much bigger, stronger, and faster now. Because dudes in the late 70s, like they were fast. They were strong. But even. I just don't think so. If you just take 15 years ago when running, guys that were running in the Olympics in the 100 meters were running it in like 10.7, and that was literally world class speed. And now if you're not running under nines, you might. So it's just I just like the times have pass those guys by, and as much as I would think that some of those 70s greats could play in today's NFL, man, I really just don't think so. That's my honest opinion.
Okay. Al, what about you? Anybody?
Yeah, I think for everything Gerald said, it makes it real hard. But I did go look at some of the best players of the 70s and think about their games, what I remember. I mean, I was a little boy, so I don't remember too much, but just what I remember of them. And I'm looking at the list of the two people that stick out because of their positions and the way they played would be Mean Joe Green. I think just the way he played, his size, quickness. I mean, you think that quickness, what would it have been today? So it's kind of hard to but he's one guy that sticks out. Other guys, Art Shell, being a tackle and just being one of the best tackles ever. I'd be curious to see what he would look like, and those are the two guys that stick out.
Oh, yeah. Joe Green was definitely one that jumped out to me. Yeah.
But these dudes are getting to the quarterback in what's the J, 1.8 to 2.5 seconds now?
Yeah.
I don't even think Art Shell would have been out of his stance.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like you, Gerald, like this question makes me ask so many more questions because
right.
One, are we just taking them like? Am I just plucking Art Shell out of the 70s and sticking him in 2018, or am I allowing him to go?
You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming. Well, in my world, I would allow them at least, the the preparation, the meal plan, a workout regimen of today's NFL player, and the opportunity to not have to work a real job in the off season. Like most of these dudes in the '70s were working regular jobs in the off season, and smoking cigarettes and drinking beer all off season. They show up at training camp and get in shape. They never that don't happen nowadays. Dudes get cut, they show up to training camp out of shape now. So in my world, I would want these I'm looking at talent wise. If I could take that talent and lend it to the regimen that today's NFL players have to go through. So, So Joe Green, Arshell's a good one. If I had to go outside of quarterbacks, if I had to I can't even. Maybe I can't. Yeah, I think maybe Mel Blount. You get a 6'4" cornerback, who could run like that. But even if they had to change the rule, well, he was still dominant after they changed and made the Mel Blount rule. So maybe Mel Blount if I had to look at a skill position player. But that's tough. I'm with you, Gerald. The fact that we can barely get to 3 means a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even like Bob Hayes back then was fast. He'd be a possession receiver nowadays.
Right.
Lynn Swan would be a slot receiver. Lynn Swan would basically be.
That.
Yeah, he'd be like Wes.
That.
Yeah, he'd be Wes Welker, if that. Yeah, you're right. Definitely no running backs I can really think of. Can you imagine John Riggins playing that? No, that would never work.
Could I touch it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My man.
Thomas Stevens would show up right after the question we all wanted to hear him answer.
I was there. I was there.
Oh really?
I was there. I was there.
We'll touch on this one and then we can backpedal a little bit.
You ain't volunteered to touch that one.
You know he wasn't touching that one.
I mean, you guys was wrapping it up. I didn't get the first, the beginning of it, so I didn't really get the gist. I just heard, you guys.
We'll backtrack and give you the gist.
So, trust me.
Yeah.
Right.
But go ahead. But go ahead and touch on this one. I'm guessing maybe Walter Payton. You thinking about?
Man, you say Walter Payton, man.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say Walter. I wasn't gonna say Walter. I was gonna say Gale Sayers, and Jim Brown, because they were saying both of those guys ran the 100 and under 11 seconds, dude. That's still elite speed for a running back. That translates to a 4.4. 4.4, that's dominant for a running back. And the cutting ability, especially of Gale Sayers cutting on the dime, the vision, the strength of Jim Brown. You would equate that to maybe an Adrian Peterson. That's still the speed that Adrian Peterson had when he played. So I would definitely say those two guys.
And why y'all sniffling at Walter though? I think again, if we're using JR's premise of we're gonna give them all of that.
I'm not using his premise because that's not what the question was. The question didn't say. The question didn't say, "Hey, if we could take these '70s dudes and pump them up like the Monstars." It said,
"You're not pumping them up, but you can't just say, yo, you just drop."
But
from the '50s, of course, everything is going to be progressed. So there's no the answer to this question. If you're not giving none of that, there was no. That was 50 years ago.
Because if you could do that, so here's how I see it. Oh, sorry guys, here's the way I see it. If you could do that, then all those dudes could play in today's NFL. If you could equate their skills and physical abilities to today.
I don't know about Earl Campbell.
Well,
I think his running style. I don't know how. Is he just blunt? LeGarrette Blunt? I just don't know.
He probably way faster than Blunt though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's funny you say Earl Campbell. To me, Earl Campbell would be on that list that I would probably give a thumbs up to ahead of Jim Brown.
I would think Earl Campbell too.
Earl's 20 years after Jim Brown, so yeah, man. That's like it's so many like.
But I would say Walter Payton as well, though, because I mean, if you're looking at a guy like Jordan Howard, that I mean, he's not an elite back in the league, but he's a very good back. And if you're telling me Walter Payton's not at least Jordan Howard, I would flat out say you're ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wasn't scoffing at Walter. I was just figuring that was the name you was gonna come with. I wasn't scoffing at Walter at all. I just figured that would be the first name off your list.
I mean, I know he don't have the quickness and the speed of some of today's backs, but you still see a Le'Veon Bell that's back in the league without top-notch speed, and with his vision and the way he played. I didn't mention Walter because he was just a given to me. Like he was just
right.
I was trying to be obscure.
Yeah,
right.
I guess like the more you think about it, to me, running back would probably be the easiest to translate.
Right.
Yeah, right. Because running back is a lot of vision, it's a lot of instincts.
What about OJ?
Definitely OJ. Yeah. I mean, OJ was on some bad teams, man. But like when you look at like just sheer physical ability, it ain't many running backs like even today that have OJ's like combination of size, speed, power, quickness, vision. Like OJ was legit 6'2", 225 and getting it. Like so running back would probably be easy. Like I think the further away you get away from the football, the harder it will be. You know what I'm saying? So like as like linemen, like you said, like defensive linemen, you get them on a regimen. Of course, and money. I'm sorry, but if I'm taking like if me and Joe Green got to like train like Ndamukong Suh, I would expect that he would like be closer physically, and so that's you gotta have greater. And I'm with you. Like I hate comparing errors like that because then you get into all these variations of what could happen. But that's the one thing I would at least allow them in the off season to train.
I don't like it. Walter Payton ran like a 4.6.5, man, and they talking about so does
Le'Veon Bell.
Not only are you saying like
what does that have to do with a good back though?
These dudes are so much faster and stronger, and like I don't know.
What did Emmett run? What like Jay said? What does Bell run now? What did Emmett run? Emmett ain't playing the 70s.
No,
but I'm saying he played like closer to now.
And you, man, hey, I'm not even sure what Emmett will be able to do with these boys.
Man,
be the greatest back ever.
Come on, man, you bugging now. You bugging. They ain't got nothing to do with blocking and vision.
I don't like the whole. I just don't like the whole dropping these dudes into this air. And it's just the air is this air is this air, so it's different. Yeah. I don't think they'd be able to play. I don't think they'd be able to play.
What do you think Bell run though?
Le'Veon Bell, I have no idea what he runs.
He don't run no 4.4.
He don't run no 4.65.
He run by the 4.6.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think OJ could be Derrick Henry.
Jay, what's he run?
Le'Veon now? I don't know what he run now. He came out of college running the 4.67.
Yeah,
but I mean, he was younger. He was younger, but he was also 20 pounds heavier. So I don't know what.
He was heavier.
But I mean, if I look at him, you look at him now. Le'Veon ain't breaking the 4.7. Like he's not a speedster by any means.
No.
But I would think like I would want, even if I just dropped picked OJ up by his shoulder pads and put him in 2018, he could be Derrick Henry.
Yo, check this out. I'm online and I just put OJ Simpson speed, and I have no idea the quality of this data I'm looking at, but they got OJ Simpson running 100 meters in 10.5.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's stupid fast.
That's stupid fast for back then. That's why he was
No,
a premier.
No. That's elite speed for a running back today, dude. That's elite speed for a running back today.
Okay, that's elite speed. That's elite speed for anyone, except track stars right now.
That's what I'm saying.
We talking about football, not track stars, right?
But so I guess maybe OJ, if you just want to talk about speed, like what his speed compare to some of these guys from the day. But no, you can't just take dudes from the 70s and drop them into today's league. That's not gonna work.
So you're saying Rex Burkhead has a spot in the NFL and Walter Payton couldn't in today's NFL. I ain't saying like
I don't like Rex Burkhead, but
fine. Okay.
I see your point.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill is in the NFL.
Yeah,
and a starting running back until last week when he tore his ACL. But
like you said, running back might be the easiest position to transition.
Yeah. I don't know, but Jannard, we just gave you like 7. And 6 of them was running. 5 of them was running back. So I think we got some people that could do it.
Potentially.
You start looking at like, and like when you mentioned like Golden State and the Bulls, stuff like that. I think to me that's definitely like stuff like that is too hard to answer. Because whose rules are we playing with? So like you look at like Deacon Jones, like pass rushers back then. They get head slapped, do all kind of crazy shit. So you don't know whose rules you're playing with, how good. You would want to think that Deacon Jones will be effective without the head slap, but shit, he got 80% of his sacks as a result of it. So I don't know. So
yeah.
So good question though, Jannard. Anytime you guys come up with these questions, we spend damn near a half hour talking about them. So very good question. So before, first of all, thank you guys for these questions. We really appreciate them every week. As you can see, we get to digging over and debating with each other, and so y'all are really doing a good job with these questions. So keep them coming. If you have a question, for us, please send them. You can email us at info@godefylife.com or mention us on social media at godefylife. Before we move on, we want to backtrack, Thomas Stevens. You say you did not get the gist of Brandon from Portsmouth, New Hampshire's question. We're going to give you the gist of his question. And so, because Brandon wants to know, I think he had you in mind when he asked this. Brandon wants to know, what is your biggest regret in a relationship in life?
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
The biggest regret.
So I'm going to tell you what.
In a relationship in life.
You marinate on that for a second, and we'll be back in 30 seconds with Thomas Stevens' answer for you, Brandon.
All right.
PSA for all listeners. My name is Alvin Glymph, and I'm one of the hosts of Public Sports Announcements, where we discuss, debate, and update our fans on the most relevant sports topics of the day. PSA is fun, young, and most importantly, we know our sports. Come listen to our episodes. They drop every Thursday, and you can listen to us on Go Defy Life and SoundCloud. You will be hearing more from us this Thursday.
We are back. Episode 74 of the Defy Life podcast. We are waiting, as I'm sure you all are, with bated breath, as Thomas Stevens gives us an answer to Brandon's question. What is your biggest regret in a relationship, Thomas, ever? Let me see if you take a page out of Alvin Glimph's book here, or if you want to live. Which one will it be?
Oh, man. My biggest regret, however, man, I guess I'm looking at myself as being older and I guess more seasoned, but I guess in my marriage, I guess I could be more of a romantic, to my wife, because I guess I guess she, you know, women they watch movies, they read novels, they listen to music, and they expect you to be that way. You know, they expect you to be, you know, R. Kelly in his songs and
Lorenz
I mean,
from his movie.
Yeah, from Love Jones. I mean, that's what they expect from their husband, and the expectations that's stowed upon us are like, I mean, climbing Mount Everest. You know, daily, because once you do 1, 2, 3, 4 things, they expect 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more. You know, and immediately, not you know, with no time to breathe. You know, so so I guess, man, I just regret that I'm not more of a romantic. I want to be more of a romantic, you know, for my wife. So I answer like that.
All right, Thomas Stevens regrets that he is not Idris Elba. There you go, Brandon.
Right. You
know, but
hey, man, get your Idris on, man.
Yeah, I gotta get my E on.
I guess you'll just have to settle for being, you know,
like I don't even know who to say.
We were watching
I don't even know
Love
who to
Is.
say.
We were watching Love
Eddie
Is,
Kane
man,
Jr.
That dude. Hey, that dude. Hey, the
settle
dude.
for being
the
Eddie
dude,
Kane.
Hey, we were watching Love Is, and the dude on Love Is was just flat out ridiculous.
That dude was on too thick, man. That dude out of there, he had another atmosphere, man. I don't know what.
He was. That dude was. He was just concocted in a science lab. Like, come on, dude.
Like that's like if I'm watching if that show's on, my wife walk in the room, I turn it off. I'm like, I can't live up to your
You can't live up to that, man.
Yeah,
and she looked at me and she was like, yeah, it's true. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you flat out, all of this can't be true. Like, there's a lot of fluffer in this to make this a series. There's no way all of this can be. No one's like this. No one's like that guy.
Yeah.
Well, what's the name of the series I shouldn't watch?
Love Is. I watched like a couple episodes. I was like, this dude landing on way too. Like, I was like, man, they got some. I was like, either that dude is like Pooh said, he was made in the lab, or they got some good ass writers on this show.
Man,
he
wild.
True.
Kid's wild.
Yeah, that dude out there defying everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, Brandon, Jannard, thank you guys. Everybody keep those questions coming. We got some surprises coming for y'all surrounding these questions. So, definitely keep them coming. Really good stuff. So, we're going to talk about a little bit of NFL. You know, the main topic from NFL, we want to talk about considering who our hosts are. We already got that out of the way. Al and Gerald already talked about Cowboys, Panthers. So, Keyonne Small is not watching the NFL right now. So much so that he ditched us tonight. He said, y'all might talk about the NFL. I ain't showing up to that shit. I ain't even on tonight. So, we were going to check in with Keyonne and figure out what the fuck did Keyonne do last week instead of watching football. But he ain't here. I guess he's still doing it. So we will move on. Alvin Glymph. Is Al still there? Gerald Hedrick, you still there?
My fault.
Okay. All right.
I'm still here.
All right. Al.
Yeah.
Week 1 of the NFL season. What is one thing you know after week 1?
So I went back and forth, right? So I was tempted to just go quick and just say, I know Jets have a good quarterback. I was tempted to say, I know Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. I was tempted to say, I know the Browns will be better this year. I was tempted to say that. Instead, what I'm going to say is, I know that if the Cowboys if they continue to play offense the way they played offense, with not executing and making a lot of mistakes, the coach is going to be fired. The offense coordinator is going to be fired. Dak not going to get the big contract people are talking about. And they're going to draft one hell of a wide receiver in the first round next year. Wow. That's I know.
Okay.
They probably should do. They probably should do that anyway.
I think so too.
All of that stuff.
Although
well, no, I mean like draft the receiver.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. We need that difference maker. Although, like I think a well executed offense, I know that's the best of the best, and the coordinator and the quarterback aren't the best of the best. I mean, I still have faith in Dak, but he's not Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady or Drew Brees myself. But I think they have enough talent to be successful in a different system or a different quarterback. But there's just nobody that's just going to win on their own. Nobody.
Yeah. And it's, I would imagine, based on all the young pieces and inexperienced pieces in that system that Dallas has, I don't think this offense will look the same now that it will week 10.
True.
I just think players are going to grow, younger. So hopefully not, at least for your case. If not, we're going to have to pull with a whole lot of Uncle Quilly. So I don't want that to do.
I don't. Yes.
I'm not willing to judge offensive performance against our D though. Like I said, Dallas' offense is all predicated on being able to come off that play action after Zeke has established himself. If Zeke can never establish himself, Dallas offense is going to look terrible because, remember that year Atlanta went to the Super Bowl with Jamal Anderson and Chris Chandler and those guys. That offense was so good because Chris Chandler was so good at play action, but it didn't work until Jamal Anderson pounded you. Dallas offense is kind of they do it differently. They do some read stuff. They do some, but that's where so we weren't worried about Zeke being able to get past that front seven at all. That's just not that's the strength of our team. So he could never establish himself. So none of that stuff that Dallas likes to run off of that action never worked. I
agree with you, Gerald, except what you're describing is also our team from last year as well. So what you would, and again, I don't think, I'm not the Cowboy fan that's jumping out off the building because it's week one, because I understand this is week one. But I also am looking for progress. So if all we're going to have this year is what you described, that's what we had last year and we weren't successful. We need a team that when we come across a defense, or if Zeke gets hurt or whatever, we need an offense that we can still produce with a passing game. That's just right. We ain't going too far. We're going to rely on this play action and Zeke.
Well, you don't have any weapons that scares anyone either. So that's
I agree.
Yeah. You gotta address that. You gotta address. You gotta be able to address the weapons on the outside where Zeke feels Dak feels like that guy's going to be able to uncover. So you can't. So this is a Dallas front office issue because they really should have addressed their skill positions on the outside when they knew they weren't going to bring Dez back, and they knew they weren't going to have Witten. I really feel like they looked at the roster and said, yeah, Allen Hurns and Pooh and I had a whole debate about that. I don't like him. I don't think he's going to be, he's a number 2 receiver at best. And they basically said, well, this is going to be the guy. Cole Beasley is a career slot guy. But in order to have a good slot guy, you've got to feel threatened in the middle and on the outside. So I think this is a personnel issue and not necessarily a skill issue with,
like Dak and Zeke. I really think they're fine there. I just think like those guys on the outside really aren't very good, and Dak isn't good enough to make them better.
I think I agree that the guy is not on that team. We don't have that number one receiver on our team. But, like, how the offseason played out, like, they tried to get Sammy Watkins. He went somewhere else. So they did in the free agency try to make a play for a better wide receiver, somebody who might be that number one. And when it came draft time, I mean, where we was picking in the draft, I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of the linebacker yet, Vanderlesh, to see how good he is. But the wide receivers that was available, we could debate whether or not they would be that much better than who we got on our team now. I still think if I'm going to draft a wide receiver in the first round, I'm really trying to hit big. And I don't know if that any of those guys who was available was hitting big.
Right.
Okay.
Well, when did y'all pick? Did y'all pick after us or before us?
After y'all.
No, because y'all didn't go to the playoffs, and we did.
Yeah, Cowboys picked before because they took Van Der Esch early. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was plenty of receivers on the board when y'all picked. When y'all picked.
Why? Who was available?
The run-on receivers didn't start until, like, the teens.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore's there.
Because Amari Cooper went to Atlanta. DJ Moore was
Ridley.
there. Like, they're
not Amari Cooper.
Calvin
Ridley.
Not Amari Calvin. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Right, but he was gone. Ridley was gone.
Yeah.
I let a kid went back to
yeah, my bad.
Like Amari been sucked.
Y'all know I meant.
Nah, I know.
Y'all know I meant Calvin Ridley.
I had no clue what you meant.
I was like, Amari in his 8th year. What you talking about?
My bad.
Oh boy.
Nah, I knew what you said.
Thank you. Yeah, it was receivers out there, man.
Nah, it was receivers to be had. Yeah, it was
receivers to be had.
Now,
and,
two hours defense. Yeah, Courtland Sutton. Yeah, but 2 hours defense, like, there was also a hole at linebacker. So I guess, at that point you judge, what's the biggest hole? Because if you draft the receiver and then you got a hole at linebacker, we having this conversation the other way. So, you can only get one at a time.
Is he playing now? Is he playing now?
Yeah, he started.
Yeah. Oh, he started?
We drafted after us. What wide receivers drafted after 19? Ridley. Oh, damn, Ridley was 26.
Mm-hmm.
I told you we're still on the board.
I really like Ridley. Oh, yeah.
Ridley, Courtland Sutton.
They saying Sutton he might be the best wide receiver on the team. Yeah, that's what they're saying they can.
James Washington.
He's a monster.
James Washington was still out there. Yeah. I mean, it was.
They had pick. They had their pick of the receivers.
Yeah,
if they wanted one.
Yeah.
True that.
But again, like, you can't draft everybody in the first round. So
you can't.
They needed a linebacker too. So we'll see. I don't know. I like Michael Gallup. It's not like they totally ignored the position either. I like Michael Gallup a lot. I'm sure he won't be the same player again. I'm sure he won't be the same player in week 10 as he is in his first professional game. So,
right.
Yeah. So we'll see. Thomas, one thing that you know after week 1.
Oh, I guess I never really, and I hate to be that guy that always talk about his team, but I'm going to talk about my team this time. I always knew. I knew Khalil. I knew Khalil Mack was good. And I watched him because I never really watched a lot of Raiders games because you don't really see them a lot. But my own team, I make sure no matter what, I see my team's game. Whether I have to go to a sports bar 32 miles away or, get to Sunday, whatever I have to do to see my team play, I'm going to see my team play. And Khalil Mack, he's a he's a special talent, man. I don't. Hey, the Raiders. I mean, I still like we probably could have even given him more for Khalil Mack if he continues to play like that. Man, hey, Jay, if he continues to play like that, we could have given him much, much more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Mack's a beast.
Hey, Pooh, why do you think y'all ended up losing that game?
I think we got complacent, man, and I don't know with some of the play calling, but with Mitch got to a point where he was afraid to pull the trigger deep, like the deep guy. He would take the intermediate guy, and he wouldn't go for it all. And then when he went for it all, it was the wrong decision. And then we stopped giving Tariq touches. Dude, we gotta give him touches. I noticed at least 9 third downs. Tariq wasn't even in the game. Like, he wasn't even a threat to even get the ball. You know, so we went to that John Fox crap down the stretch, man. Just let's take Tariq out the game ourselves. But we can't do that, man. He's our most explosive player. Period.
Yeah.
So you think y'all just shut it down?
You know, we thought we had it in the bag, you know, until that kid came back. Then we didn't even come after him. Like, he was a sitting duck on one leg. Yeah, he's gonna pick us apart if he gets the time. But instead of 5, bring 6. You know, make him move around and get off that spot with that one leg. I mean, he could barely plant. He could barely plant on that. Go get him.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just equated, you know, that's part of the process, man. Young, you know, first year coach, young team, young quarterback. It's part of the process.
Right.
You know. Right. Man. And Matt Nagy comes from that Andy Reid tree. We all know how Andy gets when it's on the line.
He'll do it.
So.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Gerald, what's one thing you know after week 1 in the NFL?
Man, thought we never get to meet, so I can talk. Let's see. One thing that I know. See, I actually enjoy talking about my team. I don't even want to pretend like I don't like it. Like, I love it. But I'm not gonna talk about my team. I'm gonna say that I know that I knew much improved, and
Joe,
they're one of my sleeper teams. And
you chopped up. Who did you say?
The Bengals.
Okay, the Bengals. All right.
The one thing that I know, and I'm actually gonna check them out in person when they come here in a couple of weeks. I think that's gonna be a great game. But first we got to go take care of business in Atlanta. But I think that's gonna be a heck of a game, as what I consider a strength is their offense going up against our defense, which I consider a strength for us. So, but yeah, I knew that the Bengals were going to be much improved, and I think they're headed towards good things.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see Thursday night, Bengals Ravens, right? Oh,
yep.
All right. Really quickly, one thing I know after week 1 is if Le'Veon Bell saw what I saw from James Conner, he better bring his ass back because he is losing leverage by the day. That's all I gotta say about that. I know stats on everything, but the numbers James Conner put up in week 1, Le'Veon Bell put those numbers up. When you look at total yards from scrimmage, he's put those total numbers up 3 times in the last 3 years. So, not saying that James Conner is as good as Le'Veon Bell, but I would think one thing that's going to be revealed throughout this entire process is people are going to realize that Le'Veon's not that entire offense, that that offensive line, that system kind of feeds into his overall numbers, and he is not that much of a unicorn where he cannot be replaced. So, we'll see.
Hey Jay, you know what I thought about I thought about our conversation from last week when you was like the Browns just find a way to lose, and I was thinking like if you tie a team that commits 5 turnovers in your building,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, in the rain,
I don't know.
And yeah, like 5 turnovers in the rain, missed the field goal, like. Pittsburgh gave every opportunity for Cleveland to win that game, and they tied it. Like so, but I will say this: those ain't your big brothers Browns. Like they are better, and
they
Myles Garrett. Good God, that dude he's a monster. But nothing I saw from them, and again, things will be different in Week 10, Week 12, moving forward. But I don't I still don't see a playoff team when I see that team. As like,
well,
I don't know.
We'll see. I still really like him as a sleeper. But it did kind of, that thought did sneak into my head of like, boy, like I know they're saying it's kind of a victory or a moral victory, but there ain't no moral victories. Like. If I would be furious with my team if a team came into Charlotte, had 5 turnovers, and all we could do was tie. I'd be mad. I feel like we lost.
But it's not like they played well. You know, they didn't play particularly well either. I mean, they have the turnovers. But one thing I want to say, man, you know, and I was really up and at him about Tyrod. Tyrod got to let it go though, man. He gotta push it down the field.
Yeah, but that's never been Tyrod's game.
It hasn't, man. But he has Josh all over the field, like, and I hate to say it, but the offense will probably open up if Baker gets out there, because Baker will pull the trigger. He's gonna take his lumps. He's gonna take his lumps, but he's gonna pull the trigger, man. And I mean, you can't have Josh out there if you're not gonna get him to rock.
I get that, but. Like if they put Baker out there and then he's throw 3 picks, but he getting Josh the ball, then we having this conversation, man.
No, it's not about getting Josh the ball. But I'm saying they're not going to win if they're stifling their O. Because I'm saying if they didn't stifle their O, they probably could have very well scored more points on you guys. But
listen to what I'm saying though. Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying. But if Baker gets out there and throws 3 interceptions, they get blown out of that game. That's what's gonna happen with a rookie. You know, at some point, like he gonna make rookie mistakes. So it's a trade-off. You know, you got the guy that plays it safe. And he don't get you no big, you know, a lot of splash plays. Or you got this hot shot rookie who's gonna get you some splash plays, but he's also gonna Brett Favre you a couple times and throw it to the other team. So it's a trade-off.
He's gonna do that.
And I guarantee you, if they had, you know, Cleveland had 1 turnover, and that was at the end of the game. If they would have had at least 2 turnovers in that game, the game wouldn't have been close.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I agree with that.
Playing it safe kind of kept them in that game. You know, keep yourself in the game, let your defense win it. That's pretty much what happened.
Gotta get it.
Yeah.
Gotta get it out there, man. That kid don't even look deep.
But then, but you asking Tyrod to be somebody who he's not, though.
No, I ain't asking that, but I mean, give the best player on your team a chance every once in a while. You got to give him a chance, though. You got to give him a chance.
Yeah, it would be nice if Steph Curry could post up LeBron, but that's not who he is. Like, so you shoot threes and you do what you do. Like they didn't sign. What I'm saying is they didn't sign Tyrod with the illusion that he was gonna come out there and be Dan Marino. They knew what he was. Like, you get what I'm saying?
No.
So Tyrod's not going to open
but he got the ball to Sammy. He got the ball to Sammy the year Sammy was healthy and they played together. He got the ball to Sammy. He and Sammy both made the Pro Bowl. Like, he didn't even look. Everything was short. Landry back. He didn't even look though. That's what I'm saying. But maybe that's a testament of Josh not being in camp and just not being familiar with Josh. So that's what I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put that on now. I'll put that on now.
Maybe. I mean, he did look deep for Josh a couple times. He got a long touchdown out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if I felt like he went there. I felt like he took a couple of shots.
Yeah.
But it's not like the weather was very conducive to the long ball. I don't know.
But
I didn't see Big Ben out there taking a whole lot of shots either.
yeah, he did.
Yeah, the weather was crazy.
Yeah.
He was trying to take him. He just got hit before he got it off.
That's true.
He was trying to take him. He gonna win. He gonna chunk that thing to Brown now. No matter what.
Yeah. And,
No matter what.
yeah. And I mean, Ben took him. I mean, of course, that's Ben's game. It's not
Right.
That's not Tyrod's game. So Ben's game
Agreed.
is gonna, so he hit, Jesse James for a 40-yarder. He hit, Juju for a 67-yarder. So he had the shots. But when you take again, that's the trade-off. When you taking shots down the field and you got Myles Garrett coming after you, you're gonna get hit sometime.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
same
true.
on the other side. When Tyrod, you never know what Tyrod was. He got sacked 7 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 of them by T.J. Watt. Good God, that
TJ.
kid gonna be good. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
That kid gonna be exciting.
Beast.
Yeah, like my boy Jeff Al. He called me. He's in this the fantasy leagues that you draft individual defensive players. And he got T.J. Watt on his team. And he called me the day after the game. He's like, "Man, I know you don't play fantasy, but I know you watch the Steelers game. How the fuck did T.J. Watt get me quarterback numbers?" I was like, "Man, that kid had 4 sacks, a blocked field goal. Like, he did all kind of shit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
8, like 8 tackles, 7
11
tackles. Yeah, he had
tackles.
11. He had 38. He had 38 in my league. I was like, what? Who is this?
Yeah.
I said, who is this?
So I need to go pick him up in my other league. True.
As fast as you can.
Yeah. So,
True. Hey, what did y'all think about? I just want to tell this joke. What y'all think of Nathan Peterman?
Oh God. Yo, I feel bad for Shady, right? Because he all they got. But Nathan Peterman's so bad. Like, Kelvin Benjamin probably lead that team in tackles. Like, how your middle linebacker have 4 tackles and your starting wideout got 5? That's crazy. Man. And then they still ain't ruled out. They still ain't ruled him out from starting next week. I don't get it, man.
I saw that, man. Play Allen and let it go, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they started Peterman anyway, though.
No. Because they blew it up in preseason for 1 game.
No.
I don't know. That kid married to somebody in the family. I don't get it, man.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
It gotta be Benny Testaverde's nephew, man.
Yeah.
And you know what happened. You know that story.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. It's bad. All right. Moving on to question of the week. Al, you brought this up last week. And this is one regret I have, that Keyonne Small is not here to tell his story on this topic. But question of the week, what is the craziest incident you've ever had with the police? Al, you brought this up. I'm going to lead with you, sir. What's the craziest incident you've ever had with the police?
All right, fellas, this is going to be a funny-ass story. So, and it came to mind as I was talking about, we were talking last week about the discretion of police, and if we want our police to have that discretion. The story popped in my head. So maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm coming back from a homecoming at Tuskegee, and I had pulled my grill for the first time behind my truck, and it went perfect. It transported down there fine. It was coming back fine. And this is my first time taking it outside the city. I'm so happy. The food was banging. Everybody had a good time. Tuskegee's homecoming was dope. So I'm coming back, riding on Interstate 85, coming back to Atlanta. And my wife is in the passenger seat. and we're just reflecting on the day and how great it was and how good of a weekend it was and how I'm just enjoying this grill and thank you for buying it and everything. As we're driving up the interstate, people are pulling up next to us trying to get my attention. But me, I'm like not even paying attention to y'all because I'm having a conversation with my wife right now. I ain't got time to notice what the hell y'all trying to talk to me about. So I'm just ignoring them, the 3 or 4 cars trying to get my attention. Next thing I know, one of my friends calls me who's was following us at one point, and it was his daughter that went to Tuskegee. So he calls, and I'm like, yo, what's going on, bro? He's like, yo, did you know that your grill is dropping something out the grill? And I'm like, nah, what you mean dropping something? He said, it looks like something is dropping out the bottom. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pull over at this next exit. It's like the rest area. Let me pull over and we'll check it. So we pull over. He pulls up behind me. We get out, look under my grill. When I had cleaned the grill at the park and let all the ashes out, I had never sealed the bottom. So there were still ashes and charcoal that was falling out of the bottom. And I had left some charcoal still in the grill. So it was like, damn, wow. Okay, that's, I got to remember that. It's a new grill. I got to remember, I got to seal that. Okay, all right, lesson learned. Let me keep it moving. And my buddy, he know everything about the good Southern boy. He know all the stuff, what I should not be doing. So he's like, no, don't leave it. Let's put the fire out. Let's make sure all these charcoal, let's get some water on it. And I'm like, all right, makes sense to me. I got water in the cooler. So we put water out, put all the water out. We having a good time joking. No big deal. Ha, ha, ha. Lessons learned. So I'm jumping in the car. I'm about to pull off on the exit is when like 4 or 5 sheriffs pull into the rest area and like stop me, block me from leaving. Like, boom. And I'm looking at my wife like, oh shit, like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm like, that black male fear cop thing. I'm like, I ain't getting out. I'm gonna sit right here and find out what the hell's going on. But my homeboy gets out. He gets out. He starts having a conversation. I'm looking like, yo, where did they do this at? Like, hold on. He's just talking to the cops. Like, okay, maybe it's safe. So I get out the car, and I'm like, what's going on, officer? So Tony looks at me, and he, like, puts his hand up, like, there he is. And he's like, is that your grill? I was like, yeah, that's my grill. Why, what's up? He's like, you was just driving down the state? I was like, yeah, why? He's like, man, you've left fires up and down the interstate. Oh, he said, you've left fires up and down the interstate. And I'm laughing, I'm because, I'm stupid like that. I'm afraid that the people were trying to get my attention. I'm driving, letting me know what's going on, and I'm like waving them off like, yeah, whatever. So I start to laugh like, oh, that's what they wanted. Like, yo, what the hell are you laughing at? The fire department is up there right now putting your fire out. Oh, shit. Fire department, I need to put your fires out. And you laughing? So my man jumps in like, nah, officer. Wait. Look. No, he ain't know. This is his first time with the grill. We put the fire out and everything. We're just on our way back. We're like 30 miles from Atlanta. We'll be home. Everything is good. And he checks the fire. He looks and he sees he's telling the truth. We don't put the fire out. And then I guess he then starts to appreciate how comical and almost like stupid, like just like, all right, I get it.
new grills. Yeah, make sure that doesn't happen again. Real dangerous. Get home safe. And I was like, oh shit, because I thought right now I'm thinking I'm going to jail. Like yo, word, because I'm cracking jokes. She told me I'm burning down the interstate. Where we going with this? He like, nah, just have a good time. I got in the car as fast as I could. Look at my wife, like, yo, let's go home now. Let's go. No, she didn't know none of this, like, because she's inside the vans, the truck, so she doesn't even know what's going on outside. I'm just like, yo, that's my.
You bringing a whole new meaning to burning up the road.
Burning it
all the way,
bruh.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where were you again?
Come on, man.
About 30 miles outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
On my way back from Tuskegee on Interstate 85. So 85 north.
Jeez. Well.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, as you said, lesson learned. I've been around you enough to know that hadn't happened in a while. So, good job.
No. Nah, right. Every time I cook, I double check that. Like, okay, we good. Oh, let me just make sure. Oh, yeah, it's in there. All right, let's go. That would never happen to me again.
Wow. All right. Gerald, what's the craziest incident you've ever had with the police?
I'm gonna have to say,
Kid, have to take a deep breath.
Nah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So when I honestly, we kind of talked about this a little bit already off air, but so when I first decided I was going to move home from Columbia back to Charlotte, I had taken a job here in Charlotte, so I started out kind of driving back and forth. So it's not really it's kind of like a string of stories. So, but they're all related. So, and I'll break that down in a minute. So, I had a silver Chrysler 300C. So those things will move. And I had, my windows was tinted black, and I had a radar detector in the window, and I had a radar detector on the dash, and I just couldn't be pulled over. I knew where all the cops were. I made that trip so many times. I just felt comfortable with, so there's a little stretch of road in Chester County, and so you hit that stretch before it turns into that 4-lane road where you get to about Rock Hill and you got to kind of shut it down. But the speed limit's 70 through there. They'll let you get away with doing about 80. For some reason, I like to drive faster than that. So, officer clocks me off the bridge, comes and pulls me over, gives me a ticket for doing 86 and a 70. I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. And I go pay my ticket and keep it moving. Have a nice day. Thank you, officer. I'm on my way to work. Boom. Next week, on my way to work. Same stretch of road, same officer. Pulls me over. Boom. But shout out to Officer Darby, by the way. If you still in Chester County's division of the South Carolina Highway Patrol, shout out to you, sir. You have cost me a lot of money, but pulls me over again. This time I'm doing about 90. Writes me another ticket. Say, I remember you. Silver Chrysler 300. Yeah, I remember you. Man, he said, man, I guess your radar detectors and all that's not working. I'm like, how are you clocking me? Like, I'm supposed to see you from a long way away. So I got you. So, whatever. A little bit more times, but I don't think it's the next week. But I think I want to say it's the next month. On my way to Charlotte,
Same. I'm talking about. I'm pulling off at the same exit where he's writing me these tickets. He popped me again for the third time.
Dang.
So I'm like, okay, Officer Darby. Like, he was like, we are becoming friends. I'm like, yes, you are writing me too many tickets. So boom, he writes me another ticket. He says, are you running late? And I said, honestly, no, I'm not running late. I just always drive this fast. Like, so he and I got a little crack up. We got a little cracked up about it. He writes me the ticket and whatever. All right. So one night, Pooh hit me up. It's some weekend. It's some party or something happened in Columbia. So because by this time I'm living up here like full time. So I go to Columbia, hanging out with Pooh. It might have been, I want to say it was even like a fight night party or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But so we at the party, we're having a good time, and it's getting to be almost over. It's like 1:00 in the morning. So keep in mind, all this other time I'm on my way to work, so it's like 8:00 in the morning. So so I get a text in my phone, and it's some chick telling me to come hang out with her or something, and I'm like, yo, I'm all the way in Columbia, and she's like, man, whatever, just come through whenever you're done. So of course, I had a few drinks or whatever, but I'm not drunk. Like, right, and I know what the night gonna bring and all of that. I jump in my car. I got that text on my phone, so that text on my back. That text on my back. So I'm trying to get to Charlotte like ASAP. Boy, I'm flying. Don't even ask me why I was driving so fast. I have no clue. But it's like 1-2 in the morning, man. And I see these two lights in the pitch black, way off in the distance, coming towards me on the side of the highway. And I see them blue lights come on, and I'm like, no way. Now I'm not as far up in the Chester County as normal, but whatever. Man, I see those blue lights come on, my heart just dropped because I just knew they was about to take my license. I know I was doing 100. So sure enough, the car blue lights me, comes across the median, pulls me over, and guess who it was? Officer fucking Darby. And I was like, yo, I thought you only worked mornings. He's like, it was like you, Gerald. Come on, man. So, he was like, he said, well, I know you're not on your way to work now. I was like, nah, I'm coming from this party. And he was like, man, are you good to drive? And I was like, yeah, I'm good to drive. He's like, I know you had a couple drinks. I was like, yeah, I had a couple. So he's like, you mind if I give you a sobriety test? I was like, absolutely. So he takes me out. I walk the line, and all of that. And he's like, man, you know what? I'm not even going to write you a ticket tonight. I know you're going to Charlotte. Just get home safe. Because I passed on my that's that day he didn't write me a ticket. But I guess because I was the only car on the road. But I'm gonna tell you, I've never been pulled over by the same officer like that. And since that day, I haven't seen him again. I haven't seen him again since that day.
Probably quit. Put his kids through college.
But man, shout out to Officer Darby, man. Chester County Division of the South Carolina Highway Patrol. In that what looked like the Dodge. The Dodge Charger type highway patrol car. Oh man, yeah, and I really, So he's Officer Darby's tickets are the reason why I was in all that license situation issue. Now that I put the whole story together. But yeah, shout out to Officer Darby, man, and thank you for costing me so much money. Or rather yet, I should take responsibility for that myself. I shouldn't have been driving so damn fast. Or better yet, my radar detect I should have sued Cobra, because when you have a Cobra, and you get a ticket, they're supposed to pay him. I should have followed up on that.
You damn right you should have. Shit. 3 of the month. Man.
Yeah. And to this day, I refuse to invest any more money in radar detectors because I'm convinced they don't work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Thomas Stevens, what's the craziest incidents you've ever had with the police?
Craziest incident. I was gonna go back to high school, but I'm not.
No, don't do that. No.
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride with the reason why I'm so, I guess, intimate with the Kaepernick thing. Why I ride so hard with taking a knee, no matter what. So, and this is why I asked you guys, do you think that it's a blue thing instead of a white and black thing with the police officers? Is it the badge? Have we just dehumanized them, and all we see is the badge, and we get this negative connotation with the badge? Okay, here it goes. Clear my throat a little bit. So we had a spot called. First I was went to my wife's cousin's house. He was like, "Yo, we watching the game, the Bull and the Knicks." He's a Knicks fan. The Knicks are horrible. We had D Rose. You know how that story goes. So he's frying fish. We go up there. oh, Al, no disrespect.
I hope he choked on a bone. That fish.
and actually, when I got there, he was like, "Yo, it's white, and I don't eat white, and so I didn't even eat fish." Because of the bones. I know that sounds kind of weird, but anyway. So I had maybe, I had 2 beers or whatever, and it was a Wednesday night. And it was this place called Elements in Columbia. If anyone ever been through Elements, Wednesday night, you already know what it was. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was the happening spot in Columbia. So I left my wife's cousin's house, like 9:30. I said, 9:30, 10. I said, let me stop by Elements, shake a leg, chill out, and, bounce up out of there. So, boom, I went there. Stayed for about an hour and a half, looked at my watch. I said, you know what? I'm hungry. I didn't get anything to eat. Let me make it to my house, which I was living in Apple Valley off Broad River by Rush's. I said, you know what? I can make Rush's. Get me a hot dog basket. Let me get out of here. Hit the interstate, got off the interstate, cut through Rush's, and they were just shutting the lights off. I was like, oh, wow. Dang, not going to get this hot dog basket. So I go through the parking lot to a side road that takes me straight to Columbia High to my house. So I look to the right, and I see 8, 9 police cars, and I'm like, boy, I better chill here and let those guys get through, because, boy, they're about to get someone. So I'm waiting. Honestly, I waited for like 3 or 4 minutes, and they were still there sitting. So I was like, hey, this seemed kind of, as Andy Griffith says, this seems awfully peculiar. So I had to throw that in for Key. But roll my window down, and I was like, yeah, everything all right? And he said, get out of the car now. And I said, y'all want me? I'm astounded. Y'all want me? They're like, get out of the car now. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I get out of the car, walk out the car. All I see is, they going for their holsters pulling. Get on your knees. And I was like, me? They were like, get your ass on the ground, get on the ground. I get on the ground. The officer come over there, jump on my back. Another guy standing over me, hand on his holster. And I'm like, officer, what's going on? What did I do? You know what you did? You're going to jail tonight. And I was like, sir, I honestly don't know. I said, I'm so close to my home, I can throw a rock and hit it. I said, whatever the problem is, let's handle the problem. But could you guys please allow me to go home? You're not going home tonight. You're going to jail. So I was like, yo, could I at least park my car at home? I said, I don't know what the problem is. but could I park my car home? You'll get your car out of the pound. You're going to jail tonight. And I was like, wow. I said, this is bananas. Yeah, I said, this is bananas. I said, what did I do? You know what you did? You reckless driving all over the place. And I was like, reckless driving? I said, dude, I just got off the interstate. I said, I went to Rush's to get a hot dog basket. I wasn't reckless driving. Yeah, you were. You going to jail. Boom, they get me up, throw the cuffs on me. And so now Rush's closed at 12. So at this point, it's like 12:08. You know, they put me in the car, cuffed me. You know, I asked what was going on, what all the guy could say. And the guy that was doing all the yelling was an African-American guy. And he was teaching another guy, you know, the ropes or whatever, which was, you know, he was a Caucasian guy. So he was teaching him the ropes. So I guess that's how you handle it, you know. So they put me in the paddy wagon.
Right.
They put me in this paddy wagon and I rotted in there. When I got to the police precinct, it was like 4:15 in the morning. So I was in that paddy wagon for over 4 hours, cuffed up, just thrown in there like a meat locker. You know, like I was in a meat locker. So I get there, and the nurse was like, she checked me out or whatever. She was like, "What'd you do?" I was like, I said, I didn't do anything. They arrested me for reckless driving. She said, reckless driving? They don't arrest anyone for that. They just give you a ticket and see you in court. They arrested you for that? And I was like, yeah. You know, they arrested me. They was like, well, she said, I don't understand that. You haven't been drinking. I know you're not drunk, and they arrested you for reckless driving? She said, that's crazy. So, boom, I'm in there. Hey, I don't have anyone to get me, because my wife at the time was at a dental conference in Atlanta. I couldn't get her. You know, my cousin, I called him to come get me. He seems to think like he has 4 or 5 felonies. I can't go to the police precinct, man. They might lock me up. I was like, yo, you serious? I was like, yo, you serious? Yeah, I can't come up there. They can let you out, and I'll catch you walking up the road. I was like, dude, they're not gonna let me out. They're not gonna let me leave walking. So anyway, I'm in there, and the guy, man, he had been in jail for 5 years. Much respect to him. Caucasian guy. He was like, "Hey, man, you give me your name, and I can tell my sister to sign you out." And I was like, "Well, you do that for me?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I'll do it for you. Without that, enough being said, sister picked me up, dropped me off down the road. Man, I hugged her, hugged him, because, dude, I would have been sitting in there for like 2-3 more days, because, you know, my wife was, like I said, she was going away for a conference. I just would have been in there sitting, didn't have anyone else to get me. So, okay, I go to court. We're in court. I asked to see the tape, you know, because I know I wasn't reckless driving. So after I asked to see the tape, the officer goes off the deep end. Well, he didn't ask to see the tape. There's no need for him to see the tape. Blah, 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 blah. So the judge was like, whoa, this is my courthouse. You know, if the gentleman asks to see the tape, and I mean, you want to prove him to be guilty, let him see the tape. So, you know, not dismissed, but they reconvened it for another time. I called the guy. Couldn't get him. 3 weeks. It's a week before we got to be in court. Still hadn't seen the tape. The officer, yeah.
Yeah, the officer.
Yeah. So now I get in contact with the captain. So the captain gets him. Then he finally calls me back. He was like, Mr. Stevens, I don't know why you want to see the tape. You know it was you driving all over the place, reckless. He was like, and that's how he coming off on me. You know it was you driving all over the place, reckless. You know, just go ahead. You know, just plead guilty. And it'll all be over. And I was like, nah, but I wasn't. You know, he was like, yeah, you know it was you. You know it was you in that. You know it was you in that black Cutlass. You know it was you. I said, black Cutlass. I said, Cutlass? Black Cutlass? Mm-hmm. I said, sir, I was driving a Lexus. I'm gonna need to see that tape. So at that point, so now I'm in class and, you know, doing my thing with my students. I noticed the number called because it's his number. I get somebody to watch my guys. I run out back And he was like, yeah, Mr. Stevens, the Dornish thing happened. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, I was making a copy of the tape for you, and I accidentally deleted it. And I was like, accidentally deleted it? And he was like, yeah, I accidentally deleted it. This is what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm gonna lessen your charges, and you won't have to pay any fines or anything, and you're just gonna lose a point. I said, lose a point? Don't have to pay any fines. I said, dude, it wasn't me. Show me the tape, or show me the tape. So, dude, he called me back 10 minutes later. He was like, Mr. Stevens, you got lucky. What we gonna do is, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna drop everything. We're gonna drop everything, and you don't have to worry about anything. You don't even have to show up at court. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna show up at court because I don't know what you might say. And next thing I know, I got a bench warrant, and them, you know, and them kids knocking my door down 5:30 in the morning. So of course I'm gonna show up in court. So, man, they went to court, dropped everything, erased everything, and a high-ranking officer told me that was a flat-out lie. He said that because the officers don't even handle the tape, the superior handled the tape. So he was like, I'm totally innocent, and they were just trying to, you know, dick you around. Said if you wouldn't have challenged it, you would have just been another person dicked around. So that's one of my, and I went to try to get somebody to try the case, dude. I went to 12 lawyers, no one would take the case.
Wow.
They didn't want to. Yeah, they didn't want to sue the county. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I hope you sold that black Cutlass.
Dude, never.
Yeah, man.
I never even rode in a black Cutlass in my life.
Wow.
Never even rode in a black Cutlass. I don't do cops, man. I don't, man.
Moral of
Dude,
the story.
Hey,
Go to Rush's. Just get a fucking burger.
get a burger.
Yeah.
Get that before they close. That's the
most. Get a hot dog, man. Go to get a burger. Nah, man, that's crazy.
That's crazy, yo.
Wow.
You would have thought they would have thought you was a murder suspect.
Yeah.
Dude. Then on top of this, they dressed me out. Like, dude, they put me in the county orange. I had on orange, dude. They threw me in there and think now I'm claustrophobic. I'm the whole nine. They threw me in there. Here you go. I was like, yo, what y'all want? Want me to put these clothes on? Put my clothes on, dude. I still got on my club shoes. And they got me dressed out in the county orange. And I was like, yo. So people getting up the next morning, they was like, yo, you gonna eat your food, you gonna drink it. I ain't even eating nothing. I was like, nah, I'm not getting it. Next thing you know, motherfuckers got me watching their drawers. None of that. Ain't none of that going on. I don't want nothing. But it was crazy. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, man. I'll drop mine really quick. So
Every half.
few years ago, before I used to ride around with a dirty license and hadn't learned my lesson. I was actually on the phone with you, Pooh, and I was in Atlanta on the phone with Pooh, and I saw the cop on the side of the road, and so I pull up behind me, and I said, Pooh, hold on, let me call you back, because it pulled me over, and I knew my license was bad, so I pulled over. And put over in the Kroger parking lot. And first of all, this kid pulls me over and calls like eight calls for backup, right? And all I hear him say is, "Yeah, we got a big one. You need to come, call me backup, right?" Yeah. So I'm like, and next thing I know, this kid got me out, and I'm just riding around. So I got on a just regular Saturday. I got on a white T-shirt, so I guess he thought I was some dope deal. I got on a white tee, and
Dope dealer's outfit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And he, next thing I know, these kids, tearing my trunk apart, like trying to look for shit, right? And so they looking for all kind of shit, going through, whatever was in my trunk at the time. tearing shit. I was like, man, I ain't got nothing. I'm a regular dude. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is one cop. This kid would not stop looking for shit. He go in my dash. I had like this little, like, you know, the little pocket knives that attach to like a keychain. This kid pull out, like the shit is like really shorter than two fingers across, right? So it's like an inch blade. You know what I'm saying? I forgot it was in there. And he pulls the shit out, dangling it by the keychain. Hey, Sarge, I think I got something. And the sergeant looked at him and said, man, if you don't put that shit away. So Sarge's like, man, if you don't put that shit away, that ain't nothing. So I get in there. So all that to say, they took my ass to jail. It was on a Saturday. Of course, I had to wait till Monday to see the judge. So yeah. And then like they taking me to I was in like right at the Norcross Alpharetta area. Like instead of taking me to their little city jail, they take me to damn Rice Street in Atlanta. And Rice Street is like the Atlanta version of fucking Rikers, you know what I'm saying? And so I get in there and I've been in like they have like pods, right? So they put me in, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, you know, of course, you know, I'm like, man, I don't want to be here. Finally get in there, they put me in the cell. And I'm in a little holding pod where they put everybody before they decide where they send you. So whether they, you know, if you're a killer, you're a rapist, whatever you all in that same holding pod, right? And so the dudes are out in the little area watching TV, and they watching the news, and the news is talking about this dude that killed his girlfriend's baby, right? And so I'm in my I was like, man, I ain't sitting out here with these dudes. So I go in my cell, and it was me. It was just me. Wasn't nobody, you know, in there with me. So a couple hours later, they bring this dude in there with me. So he just sitting there. He ain't saying shit. And I'm like, man. So I'm just waiting for Monday, really, right? So finally, he ain't talking. I ain't talking. I finally go out there with the rest of the dudes, starts watching TV. And some dude walks up to me and was like, man, that motherfucker crazy. They still talking about the dude that killed his girlfriend's baby. Come to find out, the dude that's in my cell that ain't talking to me is the dude that killed his girlfriend's baby. Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. So at that point, that's what I'm like, oh, y'all gotta get me up out of here. My life is just dirty. This dude killing babies and shit. Like, I was like, yo, I'm like, I ain't sleeping nowhere close to this dude. So luckily they got me out of there. So they took me to like the little area they had me in was, I guess, for like, you know, people that ain't really done shit. So they took me down there. It wasn't really even cells. It was like this big gym with bunk beds and shit, right? You just roam freely. Like it ain't even really jail. It's like camp. And everybody in there, all I know is everybody in there going crazy. Because that was the same jail Gucci Mane was in. Same time Gucci was locked up. Everybody was like, man, Gucci, I want to go to the cell over there with Gucci. I'm like, these niggas stupid? Like, are y'all really over here trying to get locked up? Like, I don't get it, right? So, all that to say. So, like, Sunday goes by, and they was like, man, you got to wait till tomorrow to see the judge. Next thing I know, the damn officer, damn CO comes in, and he calls out a bunch of names, and I'm one of them names. And apparently they had overcrowding, so I guess me amongst these people who ain't really done shit, they was like, you gonna get out tomorrow anyway? 4 o'clock in the morning in fucking Bankhead, they just put us out on the street. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So like fools like in Columbia, they won't let you go unless somebody sign you out. They ain't have nobody sign us out or nothing. They just said, all right, there you go. Put us in the little, cells so they can give you your shit back. You get dressed and you just walk out the door. It's 4 o'clock in the morning on Bankhead. Dude, I was scared out my mind. That's like walking through the South Bronx. Man. And, then like they don't let you make a phone call or nothing. They just kick you out. And so I'm walking down the street trying to, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, man, I'm trying to call. Like, I was like, please. Like, so Al, I called Mill. I was like, please let Mill answer the phone. It's 4:00 in the morning. You know how she sleep. Luckily, she picked up, and she came and got me. But yeah, man, I'm walking down the street, 4:00. This is the craziest shit I've ever been through. I ain't never. They just kick you out. I ain't see the judge. I ain't seen shit. I called back a couple months later. You know, wasn't even a couple months, probably about a month later, to make sure, you know what I'm saying, if I need to show up to see the judge or anything. They didn't even have no charges. Like,
wow.
They ain't even processed shit. I don't know if they dropped them or I don't know. I don't even know. So I called back to make sure, you know what I'm saying, I was straight. And they was like, yeah, we ain't got no charges for you here. They just let you go because they was overcrowded. Craziest shit I've ever been through. Never again.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Exactly. Man, so yeah. So.
Yeah, that was wild, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man, all I was thinking about walking on Bankhead at 4:00 in the morning. Man, I hope T.I.
Yeah, not a bright idea.
Yeah. I was like, man, I hope I see Tip. Kick and save me, something. But,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's crazy because I remember me and Keyonne went to Tip had a club down there. I forgot the name of the club, but we was doing open mics down there every now and then. We went one night.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. On Bankhead.
Yeah, on Bankhead. And me and Keyonne was there one night, and we out in the parking lot just talking, chopping it up before the open mic thing started. And all the lights went out on the whole block. You talking about niggas was running, like trying to get away. It was Bankhead. Like, everybody was like, oh no. Like, everybody. Like, wasn't nobody even shoot. Wasn't nobody doing no crazy shit. It's just the lights went out and dudes went nuts. So that's all I was thinking about when I was walking by myself at 4:00 in the morning on Bankhead. I was like, man, these dudes don't like it to be in the dark. And I'm by myself walking in. So, yeah. So, but yeah, man. Thanks for that, Al. It's always good to relive those memories. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all ready for some trivia?
Jay, did they dress you out, Jay? You said they dressed you out?
Yeah, they dressed me out. You know what I'm saying? Because I was there overnight. Yeah.
That's the fits.
Yeah. And then, you know what I'm saying, you hear, like, all the crazy stories. Like, I was like I said, it was just like bunk bed. So, I was...
Yeah.
To one side of me was like this dude, and he just kept talking. Really smart dude. Like, he was probably, like, from what I know, you know, from the few hours I talked to him, but, you know, he's one of the smartest people I ever known in my life. But dude was a crackhead. And so I just asked him, like, man, how somebody like you get hooked on crack? And he told me his whole... It was very, like, enlightening. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. You know, kind of people. So, all right. On the trivia. Keyonne's not here. So, again, I'm going to go in his format, in the Jeopardy format. So, 5 categories. 3 of those categories, you have an opportunity to get double points, right? So, the categories are hip-hop albums with a color in the title, NFL nicknames, NBA big men, and by big, I mean rotund, round, big, fat, not tall, necessarily. Iconic cartoons, and number 1 world ranked men's tennis players. All right.
Oh, that's a curveball.
Yeah. But y'all didn't know I'm a huge tennis fan. The categories that have possibilities for double: hip hop albums with a color in the title. You get 1 point for the title of the album, 2 points, and double points for the year of the release. NFL nicknames, one times for the player, double names for the, well, 1 time for the player or the nickname, depending on how the question's phrased, and then double points for the team, one of the teams they played for. It can be any of the teams these players play for. And other double point category is NBA big man, rotund NBA players. 1 single points for the name, double points for any of the teams they played for. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right.
All right.
Oh, Thomas Stevens, you were the champion last. I didn't realize for signing up for trivia this week that I gave up my crown. So you were the champion last, sir. So you go first. Again, the categories are hip hop albums with colors in the title, NFL nicknames, NBA big men, iconic cartoons, and #1 world ranked men's tennis players.
NFL nicknames.
All right, for 10, 20, or 30.
For the dub.
All right. NFL nicknames for 20. Considered one of the hardest hitters in NFL history, Dick Lane, 1974 Hall of Fame cornerback, received this nickname because he was afraid of flying, always traveling separate from his team, to away games. What was his nickname? And for double points, name one of the teams he played for.
Night Train. One of the teams he played for. Night Train Lane. What's his name? Because it kind of glitched when you said his first name. What's
Dick Night Train Lane.
Dick Night Train Lane. I don't know why I want to say Steelers.
Incorrect. He played for the Los Angeles Rams, the Chicago Cardinals, and the Detroit Lions.
Okay, I'll take the one. Yeah.
All right. So 20 points for Thomas. All right. Alvin Glymph.
Let me go NFL nicknames for 30.
All right. NFL nicknames for 30. This group consisted of Alan Page, Carl Eller, Gary Larson, and Jim Marshall, the defensive line unit that dominated the 1970s for this team.
Purple People Eaters.
All right. And
was
which
the nickname, and they played for the Vikings.
Okay. So 60 points for Al. I told y'all I wasn't gonna make these too hard. At least not in
Wow.
the categories y'all. At least not in the categories y'all familiar with.
Yeah, if I would have knew that, I would have went 30 on that one. Good call on that one, Al. Good call on that one.
Great call on that one.
Appreciate you.
Gerald Hedrick, what you got for me?
Let me go iconic cartoons for 20.
All right, iconic cartoons for 20. This adult animated sitcom aired on Cartoon Network's late night block. Was created by Aaron McGruder based on his comic strip of the same name.
When did it air? That's it?
Yeah, I'll give it to you again. This adult animated sitcom aired on Cartoon Network's late night block. It was created by Aaron McGruder and based on his comic strip of the same name.
South Park?
Incorrect. Is the Boondocks. Everyone knows Aaron McGruder, the Boondocks. So yeah. All right. Thomas Stevens, what you got for me?
Nicknames for 10.
Nicknames for 10. This running back from tiny Azusa Pacific University terrorized the NFL from 1987 to 1992, earning him the nickname Nigerian Nightmare.
Oh, Christian Okoye, Kansas City Chiefs.
Good one. All right.
Yeah.
20 more for Thomas. All right. Al, what you got for me? All NFL nicknames are done.
Let me try #1 tennis players for 10.
Okay. This former world number one was one of the sport's most dominant players from the early 1990s to the mid 2000s. Early in his career, it was known for his long hair and rock star persona, helping revive the popularity of the sport.
Andre Agassi.
Andre Agassi. 10 points for you, Al. All right. Gerald, what you got for me?
Rap albums with color in them for 20.
All right. Rap albums with a color in the title for 20 points. Pills and Potions was the lead singer off of this Nicki Minaj album, her third studio release. So you get 1 time for the title and double points for if you give me the year of release.
Pink Barbie?
That is incorrect. The Pink Print,
Man.
2012.
Man.
I mean, just because you said pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
But Pink Barbie was not even the title of one of her other album that had pink in the title was Pink Friday.
Oh,
Roman's
true.
Revenge. So, yeah. All right. So 0 again. All right. Thomas Stevens, what you got for me? Where we going?
Let me get basketball nicknames for the 10.
NBA big man. We don't have basketball nicknames. We got NBA big man.
NBA big man. My fault.
All right.
My fault.
All right. So for NBA big man, it's a double point opportunity. Single points for the name, double points if you can give me any of the teams they played for. Set for 10.
Okay. Yeah. For 10.
All right. NBA big man for 10. Playing the entirety of his career at 7 feet and over 300 pounds, this guy definitely earned the moniker Big Country.
I know his last name. What do I got to give you? What do you got to get?
I need first and last name.
And his birthday.
Yeah, whether he was left or right.
And where he went to college.
Where he went to Oklahoma State. I think it was Brian Reeves. It ain't even Brian Reeves.
And you got that right. Yes,
Wait,
sir.
repeat his name.
What else you need to know?
Wait, what are you saying? What are you saying his name was?
Brian
Reeves, yes. And so you
What
got
else?
10. If you want to double, you can give me the name of the team he played for.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis Grizzlies or Vancouver Grizzlies. Just switch while he was there. Yes, you are.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So 20 points again. All right. Al?
Let me try tennis for 20.
All right. Mark off Brian Reeves. All right. Number 1 tennis players for 20. This American former number 1 ranked player, nicknamed A-Rod, finished his career with just 1 victory in a Grand Slam event, the 2003 U.S. Open, despite a long stretch as one of the world's best players.
Roddick.
I need the first name, sir.
Yeah. Damn. Andy
Roddick is correct. Yes, sir.
Hey,
So,
my family got a picture with Andy.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, we went down to they have this little open down there in Charleston each year. And Venus and Serena were supposed to be there, but Serena didn't show. But Andy was the guest, and Keita saw. She was like, "Oh, it's Andy Roddick." So they went over there. He took a picture with him. It was mad cool.
Good stuff. Better go A-Rod.
Yeah.
All right. Gerald Hedrick, what are you going to give me so you can get on the board, sir?
I gotta get on the board, man. Give me NBA big man for 30.
All right. NBA big man for 30, possibly 60. This guy was drafted with the number 12 pick overall in the tragic 1986 NBA draft. His girth earned him the nickname Hot Plate in order to distinguish him from his fellow 86 draft mate with the same first and last name.
Kid don't have a clue.
First of all, how you know I have a clue? I got a clue. Hey Jay, repeat the question, man. I don't have a clue.
This guy was drafted with the 12th overall pick in the tragic 1986 NBA draft. His girth earned him the nickname Hot Plate in order to distinguish him from his fellow 86 draft mate with the same first and last name?
Hot plate. 86 draft.
Yeah.
Two dudes with the same.
Yeah, and while I was looking at this question, like, we could do a whole trivia on the 1986 NBA draft. It's so crazy. But, yeah. But with that said, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Hot plate.
1. John Hot Plate Williams, yes sir,
yeah.
as opposed to John Hot Rod Williams.
Yeah. Okay.
Hot Plate played for, drafted by the Washington Bullets, played for the Clippers and the Pacers.
Hot plate. I didn't have a clue. About it. I didn't have a clue. I had no idea.
Yeah, damn good player. Just ate himself out of the league.
Right.
All right, so after 3 rounds, Thomas has 60, Al has 90, Gerald, you got the goose right now.
Wait a minute. Al got 90, I have 60?
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
That means you're losing.
Nah. You sure? So he got 60 with the 30, and then what he get after that?
He got 60 with the 30, and then he got 10 on tennis and 20 on tennis.
We like a point judge now? What the hell?
I thought I was only 10 down. I thought it was 60, 70. I forgot about the double. Okay. It isn't. That's what it is.
60 Thomas, 90 Al, 0 Gerald. What you got for me? Where you going, Pooh?
Let me get the big man for the what's left, the dub.
Yeah.
Let me get that.
NBA big man for 20. Drafted in the first round of the 2001 NBA draft straight out of high school as part of a Twin Towers project with Tyson Chandler. This supremely talented big man ate himself out of the league after signing a 6-year, $60 million deal in 2008.
Eddie Curry, the Chicago Bulls.
Come
on, man.
That's 40. Thomas
I'm back on top, Al.
jumps into the league.
I can't get a question that I know the answer to. I'm back on top, Al.
Yeah, you got the softball local question.
Yeah, I was like, it would be the Pooh gets
that.
But that's okay. Let me get tennis for 30. Number 1 tennis players.
All right. Number 1 ranked tennis players for 30. This Swedish former number 1 world ranked player was the arch rival of John McEnroe. Between 1974 and 1981, he became the first man in the Open era to win 11 Grand Slam titles, including 5 consecutive at Wimbledon. He is considered one of the greatest players in history.
This happens to be my favorite tennis player of all time.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know about all time, but definitely as I was growing up, this is the guy I was watching that kind of got me to be interested in tennis. Bjorn Borg.
Bjorn Borg is correct, sir.
Wow. Right. Short-lived, huh?
Yeah.
Won 5 Wimbledons, though. But lost
his reign at the top.
Yeah, I'm talking about mine at the top. Yeah, I'm talking about being in the lead.
Give it back. Give it back.
Right.
The Al giveth and the Al taketh away. All right, Gerald, what you got for me? Come on, man. We got to get on the board.
Man.
Questions remaining.
Negative.
You have, I ain't Keyonne. I ain't putting y'all in the negative.
We ain't doing negative, Thomas. Why don't you chill?
So we have remaining hip-hop albums with a color in the title for 10 and 20. And iconic cartoons for 10 and 30. I'm sorry, hip-hop albums for 10 and 30 and iconic cartoons for 10 and 30. So, sorry.
Give me iconic cartoons for 30.
All right. This animated comedy sketch debuted on the Dana Carvey Show before moving to its permanent home on Saturday Night Live. Main characters Gary and Ace were voiced by Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert.
I don't have a clue. It's a cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Want me to repeat it?
If you on Saturday Night Live.
This animated comedy sketch debuted on the Dana Carvey Show before moving to its permanent home on Saturday Night Live. Main characters Gary and Ace are voiced by Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert.
Gary and Ace.
Go on, start counting, bro. Go on, start counting.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Gary and Ace.
3, 2,
Is that your final answer?
1.
Nah, like I'm the fucking
Beavis and Butthead.
fucking.
It is not Beavis
Nah.
and Butthead.
It's not Beavis and Butthead because it's not Gary and Ace.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
It's on MTV.
The ambiguously gay duo.
Man, what? I never even heard of that. That's not an iconic cartoon, Jay.
It is very iconic. Yes, it is.
That's
If
the
you
name of it?
ambiguously gay, it is.
That's the name of it?
Yes, that's why it's iconic. It's hilarious.
Dude.
The ambiguously
wild.
gay duo. Yes.
Okay.
Man, all right. That's what.
So it's two superheroes who are gay, but they just like obviously gay, but nobody says it, right? So
Right.
it's hilarious, and you know Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert. It's funny. So So Thomas, is back to you. So after heading into the final round, Thomas has 100, and Alvin has 120. Remaining questions: hip hop albums with a color for 10 and 30, and iconic cartoons for 10. Hip hop albums with a color have the opportunity for double points.
I mean, hip hop with the color.
For 10 or 30.
For the. But I love it.
So
I
what
forgot the name. But I'm gonna take it anyway. Give me the 30. That means no one else can see. Yeah.
All right. This was the third studio album from hip hop legend KRS-One. Tracks included "You Must Learn," "Ja Rules," and "Jack of Spades."
You should have left that one for me.
Al, this was kind of like the Eddie Curry question. I was like, if Al get this one, he getting this one.
Okay.
See, that's why I jumped out on it, because I don't know it, but I wasn't gonna let anyone else get it. Oh man!
But you gotta get it to win.
I gotta get it to win. Read it to me one more time, Jay.
This was the third studio album from hip hop legend KRS-One. Tracks included "You Must Learn," "Ja Rules," and "Jack of Spades."
Jack of Spades.
This nigga know the whole album.
Okay, you got the hip hop rules.
Let me
Learn. Why is that?
let me go with
Nigga know the whole album.
let me go with
One my countdown there, man.
let me go with Red Smoke.
So close. Not. Ghetto Music, The Blueprint.
Released in 19. I'm gonna go with 1989.
1986.
And see, I kind of knew the Blueprint, because didn't something come out when Jay had released the Blueprint when they saying something about that
Nas.
Yeah.
And Nas's Ether.
Just sounds stupid. Just sounds stupid when KRS already made an album called Blueprint.
Blueprint. Yeah.
Yep.
Idiot.
All right. That was the Easter egg. I was, saying KRS-One. I was hoping you remember.
That was your shot.
Yeah.
It was my shot.
All right. Gerald, just for kicks and giggles, hip hop albums for colors or iconic cartoons?
Yeah, I'm done with your cartoons, man. I thought you was gonna be asking about Transformers and G.I. Joe and He-Man and shit. Like iconic. You talk about the
That was too easy.
the gay superheroes of Brooklyn or something.
He said He-Man.
Come on, give me the last one for 10, but not the cartoons though. The hip hop albums with the colors in them.
My bad, Al. It's on you, Al. I'm sorry.
Man.
For comedy's sake, I'm gonna leave Gerald with the cartoon question. I'm gonna take hip hop for 10.
All right, hip hop albums with the color for 10. This is the 8th studio album by Jay-Z.
I hate you.
It was advertised as his final album before retiring,
Man.
which is also a recurring theme throughout the songs.
Hold on, I didn't. Say it again.
This is the 8th studio album by Jay-Z. It was advertised as his final album before retiring, which is also a recurring theme throughout the songs.
The Black Album?
The Black Album, yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know how y'all can do that with every
year. I'm guessing on this one. I'm gonna go with 2008.
Let me get a guess.
No, let me get a guess too, because that ain't right.
I'm gonna jump out there and say 2004.
No.
Say 2006.
All wrong. 2003. November 14, 2003.
Wow.
I was close though. When? November what, Jay?
November 14th, 2003.
Okay.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Jay-Z retired 15 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
I knew I was in college.
And on every album since then, he retired too.
Because that was my first album really listening to. Jay-Z album. Yeah, Jay-Z album.
All right. Gerald.
Man.
Iconic cartoons for 10. Created by
Rainbow,
Mike.
Rainbow Bright.
You're going to like this one, though. Right?
All right.
Created by Mike Judge, this animated sitcom featured 2 teenage slackers and ran on MTV for 7 seasons.
2 teenage what?
Slackers.
Slackers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and jump out there and say Beavis and Butthead.
There you go. See? That was the easiest question on the board all night.
Gerald is on the board.
Yeah. So,
Nah, man.
Al wins it 130 to 100 to 10.
Wow.
Yeah. See? At least y'all ain't have like
Numbers,
the winning.
man.
At least the score wasn't like 8 to 5. See, I got some points up there.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh man, see, that was fun. Keyonne, you gotta miss more shows.
That was fun.
No doubt. All right, well, Al, you won.
We gotta talk about your definition of the word iconic, though.
Iconic. The Boondocks is definitely iconic. The Ambiguously Gay Duo is iconic because of the setting and the voice actors. And Beavis and Butthead, that speaks for itself. Right.
Dude, how you not ask one Transformer question though about iconic cartoons?
That's too easy.
Come on, man.
Okay. So
how you ain't ask one He-Man question? What you mean?
That's too easy. That's like me asking.
It's too easy.
Yeah, that would be like me asking, like a category being Charlotte Hornets, New York Knicks, and Chicago Bulls point guards. Like, that's way too easy. I know y'all get that. So, I gotta.
True.
All
right.
Al, parting shot. What you got for me, man?
My parting shot. I guess I'll say share a little words of wisdom. So, been having a lot of experience recently with some human resources and interviews and being interviewed and interviewing and just all types of stuff. So just a little word to the wise, all those trying to improve through an interview, show up to an interview on time. Definitely some good words of advice. Also, understand that there are going to be people who make decisions based on everything from it's such a competitive environment nowadays to where you went to school, if you have a typo at all on your resume, do you do things like put your picture on the resume, your tattoos, your ability to answer questions. It is so competitive out there now to get a job that just come correct. And for those who don't get it, look at it as a lesson learned. And every interview is an opportunity to learn and do better on the next one. So I've had some real interesting stories that I just can't share because it might be embarrassing to some folk.
All right. All right. Thomas Stevens, what you got for me?
Hey, I just want to tell the people, continue to dream big. Because I mean, when you stop dreaming, it's almost like you stop existing. You know, you don't have anything to look forward to. You know, so you know, keep the dream alive. Keep dreaming. You know, Defy Life is our dream, and we're gonna keep pursuing it.
Absolutely. All right. No doubt. Gerald, Hedrick, what you got for me?
I got a couple things, man, that I just want to touch on real quick. I watched the show Power on Stars, and whenever Stars is running the credits, they show this advertisement or a preview of this show called America to Me. And it's about a high school outside of Chicago that's almost 50-50, like, you know, well, it's like 50% black, 45% black, like 45% white, you know, some percentage mixed and other and whatever. But it basically highlights the challenges of students that attend the same school, you know, of different, you know, ethnicities, and how each of those are presented with their own challenges and how the students get it. It's super interesting. So shout out to that show, especially in today's climate of like people not wanting to talk about those issues as if they don't exist. A shout out to that school and that district for allowing the cameras to like film the students for a year. And I encourage everyone to like check out the show. It's a really good show. I find myself fascinated by what these high school kids are like. When you think your kids don't go through stuff, when you think your kids don't, like, I'm talking like 13, 14, 15, man, they're actually processing and going through and learning more than I think a lot of times they're given credit for. So shout out to that show. I definitely think you guys should check it out. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, man, you know, here in Charlotte, we're gearing up for what's supposed to be one of the most powerful hurricanes to date in history. So, you know, if you're anywhere on the East Coast, man, prayers, shout out to you. Be safe this week at the tail end of the week, because, man, Florence is coming. And, you know, so I did want to mention that. And I'll just end with if you're not messing with Defy Life, man, what is your life about?
Damn right. All right. I ain't got nothing really crazy. You know I'm going with this, but shout out to everybody representing the Defy Life gear on social media. Whenever you get it, share a picture with us. Shout out to you, Famous J in Chicago. You know, we'll be repping the brand, and you know, keep on dancing, cuz, and flaunt that logo. So, you know, everybody that's sees the Defy Life logo anywhere, you're looking for shirts, you're looking for sweatshirts, joggers, anything. Gotta say joggers whenever money's around. But yeah, right. go get it. And you can go to defylife.com or our Volusion page at defyLifeGear.myvolusion.com. So definitely check us out. Let's keep that gear pushing. So, all right. So shout out to you, Keyonne Small, we missed you this week while you were out shooting ads with Colin Kaepernick, or on a beach with Ariana Grande. Wherever Alvin said he wasn't last week is where we guess you are. He kind of gave you some ideas. So we look forward to talking to you again next week, sir. But everybody, thanks for listening. This has been episode 74 of the Defy Life podcast. It's been real. We'll talk to you next week. Defy Life.
Life.
Defy Life.
Defy Life.
All right. Good show, guys.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right.
Took me all day to it took me all day to do that joint. I finally figured